So
you ready now?
Balls deep.
All right.
You ready?
What we're doing right now is going to be, I think this is our third episode with Kelly. We've done a lot with him because he's done a lot. And we went fishing a while ago. God, probably like what, fucking...
Early November.
So we went fishing early in November, and we had a great time. But on the way home, we were driving, and I'm like, hey, man, we're talking about old stories. And I've always asked people, can California support a large tournament series like a Bassmaster or something big? And he goes, well, they tried to do it a long time ago. So I'm like, hey, tell me about it. It was like an hour and a half drive home. And I'm like, man, this would be a great podcast. So not only did he bring everything here with us, he bring some photos, he bring some videos. We transferred the VHS to actual onto my computer. So it's really cool. We'll be able to play that during the podcast. But pretty much we're going to go over his tournament career from like about 87 to 90 to 94. And all the, I mean, people, he's fished with a lot of like legends. So we're going to talk to Kelly about that, and we're going to go from here. I'm going to let Kelly take it over. Where are we starting?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to go way, way back, but, you know, there was some team tournament stuff back in the 70s and the heydays of dabbling with the team tournaments and having 125 to 150, 170 boats. I mean, we had some crazy stuff back in the day, you know. And I did that and dabbled here and there with that and got a taste of it. And that transitioned into the mid to late 80s is when I really saw opportunity, and I saw a lot of water in places I would like to go. And I always really looked into and enjoyed, you know, Northern California. And once I was on Clear Lake back in, I must have been 74, when I was on Clear Lake and just saw the potential of what that lake was all about. And it's crazy how years later I ended up there. And I fished some draw tournaments. And back then we had boat-on-boat draws, and it was pretty crazy back then, where we would just drag our boats all over the western United States and then compete against each other. And, you know, sometimes you used your boat, sometimes you didn't. And, you know, you just never knew the circumstances by a flip of a coin. And
so can you explain that a little more, like how you would bring your boat and it was a team tournament or a draw?
No, these were boat-on-boat draws. You know, there was no such thing as on the pro level or at these high dollar tournaments, there was no amateur, or they were considered you're a boater, non-boater, whether you bring your boat or not. You brought your boat, then your boat there's two boats going at it, you flip a coin and you see whose boat you're going to use, and they were 2-day tournaments. And typically we had like 2-day practice and then a week cut off. Not an open pre-fish. So
when you say that they chose a boat, like what was the...
Well, we were talking about boat on boat, and that's right, as far as non-boater, boater, and yeah, flipping a coin and going out there and doing your thing, and then...
So you flip the coin to choose who got the boat then, right? More than
pretty much, okay. You know, and like I say, I always went, for the most part, with a boat. At first couple I didn't, and then I just got to see what it was all about. This is before pro-ams, before amateur. They considered it called amateur or non-boater, technically amateur division, separate divisions. This is all equal playing field. We're all fishing for the same pot. Yeah. So that was like transitioning of the stages of tournament fishing, how it's evolving through from the 70s. This is West Coast versus, you know, how other places did it. But then we transitioned from boat-on-boat draws to then we went into the Pro-Am concept. And then it all evolved from there. And pretty much it became Pro-Ams for the majority of the tournaments. But, you know, going back when I first was doing it, it was pretty brutal, very, very competitive.
Yeah.
And... you know, I'm fishing waters and going places I've never been before. I'd read up on it, and all I had was Western Outdoor News or magazine. Minimal information, so I went out there and just did it. And 1986, 87 is when I prepped myself locally here on Piru. And I've said this before, previous videos. That was one of my home lakes, one of my very, 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 very close lake that I love to fish. And it really gave me the opportunity to learn all the basics and fundamentals of bass fishing under all circumstances, conditions. It groomed me, and it really helped me. And then once I started going up north and fishing and seeing the equipment, what they use, their tactics and everything, stopping off at Delta Bait and Tackle, spent $200-300 every time I went in there. Oh, it was great. And they're still open. They're still doing business. A great, great shop to go in and Toys R Us of fishing. And I would just go in there and just load up and see baits and see tackle and stuff that I've never seen. And they were getting, it's all part of like back east to south type style baits, and how then the local guys up there, and they were building baits and making stuff up there. You had Rod Strainer, up there building baits and all kinds of stuff. And Dennis Cordova, DC, he was making his own out of his garage and making some killer stuff. It goes on. And, even Gene Buchholz, the owner, he was founder of Hook, Line, and Sinker. He was making his own baits back in the day. And I drew him a couple times. He was my non-boater, and we've had a blast. And just a transformation, how it all evolved, and how I was watching this West Coast and the history of West Coast and seeing this happening in front of me. And we just, we were all doing it and having a blast.
Because at the time, there was no like West Coast big tournament like that, right?
No, I mean we had Western Outdoor News, Western Bass. We had U.S. Bass, and then they were changing hands, and this is before One Bass, and they were the old school tournament scene, Western Bass, and then you had U.S. Bass as well, and you had Redman too, so I competed in all those as well too, to some extent, and dabbled here and there. And like I say, I was just getting my feet wet and just kind of getting an idea. And then once I was invited to go up to Clear Lake, and it was I believe it was one of their first pro-ams, and it was for West Coast Bass, and that's how I was introduced to West Coast Bass. And once I was, and I went up there, and I just seen and experienced so much that I absorbed, and I said, you know what? I can do this. I just said to myself right out the gate, what am I doing in the back of the boat? I looked at the tackle, I looked at their gear, and I'm thinking, I'm right there. But that doesn't make it. It doesn't make you.
But was that the time you got? Did you buy a boat at that time? Were you buying a boat?
I've already had a boat. I had a boat when I was just after I graduated. I graduated in 76. I bought a boat in 78 or 79. I had I had a 18-foot Tidecraft with a 115 on it, and I was already fishing team tournaments shortly after that, and just going to town having a blast, and then, it just all evolved, and little did I know where I was going, what I was doing. I was just having fun, and just, and it just, I didn't have intentions or drive to just go out and tournament fish, but we had the opportunities, and it was out there, and I just enjoyed it and dabbled in it. And then, like I say, it progressed. But once I saw the capabilities that, that I had, that I could do and see and go out there and do it, it gave me confidence, because the possibilities that I seen in front of me and around me were endless, and the opportunities and the quality, and that was first generation pro field that I was introduced to. I mean, the legends, okay? And I was fishing against the best, the best of the best, and some national figures as well, Glebe, D. Thomas, John Bedwell, just to start it off with. And this is before like Dobbins became Dobbins, and Barrick too, those guys were hammers up there, but they were grooming themselves and they were working their way in too. And I was
Did you consider yourself more of like you were a SoCal guy, but you were fishing up there a lot? You know what I'm saying?
I fished Northern Division. I wanted to fish the big water. I wanted to catch the big fish. I didn't want to fish the Colorado River. You know,
Why didn't you?
just the weights were heavier up there. I like the power fishing end of it more so, you know, and I just love the northern division. I love the northern lakes, and you know, the variety of fishing is just by far so much more than the Colorado River. Yeah, the Colorado River has changed. All the bodies of water have changed and evolved through the years. You know, it's just like I say, the progression of the fishing, the organizations, how they grew, modified, made changes. And like I say, going back to the pro-ams, once I seen that, I was fishing. I was in the back seat with Jim Lyon, and he was taking me around on Clear Lake on the first day of a tournament, and I just said to myself, "What am I doing here? I need to get my boat. I need to be in my boat." You know, and then that's when I started moving forward, and then by, I think it was 87.
Jim is what is Jim played in the whole thing?
Jim Lyon, he was the boater. And in fact, I just showed you a clip of the video. He was, he's still fishing, I believe. You know,
is that the picture you showed me? That was the one you showed me.
The video that I showed you earlier on the West Coast Bass Classic,
okay.
and I said he's probably still fishing. Good for him. You know, he's got a few years on me, but thing is that, you know, I just weighed everything out real quick, and I'm thinking, man, I got to do this. I got to step up on the bow, and I wasn't intimidated. Only at first, but then there were guys, I'm not mentioning names, but there were guys that would take me pre-fishing and do circles and try to get me screwed up so I wouldn't know where we were at. Like, I'm going to go back and tell somebody where we're fishing or doing. I don't play that game. And they play the games they played on the Delta, doing circles on you and just running tides and moving around and just taking you around a frickin' Thule berm or an island and just end up in the same spot where you started. And they're looking at you, and then I'm like, "What are we doing here?" And they go, "You recognize this place?" I go, well, "Hell yeah! What are we doing here?" He goes, "You know where we're at?" So they're testing me. Those Delta guys tested me, or those Northern boys tested me. I'm like, I don't need to know where you're fishing. I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff, but I'm not going to get into all the details. But you know, they play games. You know, they play their games and do their thing up there. But I try to find my own. I want to fish, my deal, and that's it. I'm not going to chase somebody else's bite or chase somebody else's water. That's not the way to be a sportsman. That's not the way I am. I'm not made up that way. You know, so I built up my skills and just my. You know, the thing is confidence. Confidence will make you or break you. And having the tools, the equipment, and everything behind you. And once you get that momentum going, and once you start getting in the winner circle, there's nothing stopping you but yourself.
So when you made the choice, was it because the Western, or what was it, the Western Bass Classic? What was the name of it?
West Coast Bass, Larry Viviano, based out of Sacramento. And that's the organization I fished pretty much exclusively when it came to the tournament scene. When I got into it and jumped into it, my first year when I went in, I mean, after, you know, I dabbled, like I say, 87, 88 a little bit, and then by 90, I jumped in full on and started fishing the circuit. You know, so I was fishing the circuit, and I qualified for the 1 day. We had a 1 day called the 1 day TOC. It was the 1 day draws. You qualified through the 1 day draws. We had 1 day draws and 2 day draws, and they were combined on a Saturday, Sunday. So you can fish 1 day or 2 day. You put your money in for 1 day, you put your money in for 2 days. You're fishing for 2 different freaking payouts. It was great. I loved it. It was a different concept, but it only lasted a year or two. Anyways, fast forward, 1990, I did it. I qualified for the TOC on my home lake, Castaic. I was fishing between the Northern Division, the Southern Division on the 1 day TOCs, and I qualified and I made it. And we're at Castaic in 1990, in November of 1990. We had an Indian summer. It was like pushing 90 degrees. I'll never forget this. The week before that, they had a one.
How many boats were on that tournament?
I believe they took the top 40 from the Southern Division and the Northern Division.
So how many boats fished the tournament?
40
only.
40, I believe.
How did you get invited?
You had to qualify for the points for the 1 day TOCs. Okay. And I qualified, no problem. And I was like, cool. So, and it's on my home lake. And then on top of it, it was a 2 day tournament. And the week before that, fast forward, the week before that, there was a one bass team tournament. And I said, I'm going to fish it. My non-boater wanted to fish with me, and I said no. I said I want my water. He got all pissed off at me. And bottom line, I needed to do my thing. I needed my water. I needed to do my thing. I went out there and fished solo on the team tournament for one bass, and I took second place.
That was what year again?
1990.
Oh shit!
So the week before the TOC, I'm at Castaic, and we got this warm weather, and I stumbled on a good bite. Wasn't catching numbers, but I was catching quality. And I go back to the Michael, and the Michael was the deal, and everybody's. I mean, it was tough. It was tough fishing. That fall fishing can be really, really tough. You got fish here, and everywhere in the middle, in between. So, anyways, I stumbled on this bite, and they were solid 2.5 pound plus fish on up. But a lot of threes, and there was those 4s and 5s mixed in you could catch. I knew the possibilities of that. So I fished that one bass team tournament, took second, got a check. Following week, we got a tournament. I didn't even go out and pre-fish as far as fish it really hard. I had a game plan, had water. Biggest mistake I made out of that is problem is to duplicate the area and what I was doing, I was very limited. And that's what hurt me. That was my biggest downfall, and not having a secondary pattern. But it was tough when you got 40 of the top guys in the Western United States from like 5 different states on your home lake. It's like nothing's going to be left alone. So I committed myself and ended up fishing the TOC. And the first day I weigh in 2 fish over 5 pounds. I weigh in a nice bag on the first day. And
what was a good bag back then? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure it was a little different then.
Well, in the 90s, that was 1990, and that was during the heyday of the crawdad and the big baits, the big crawdad limits, the big fish. That was when it was blowing up, and that's when as far as the tournament scene, Castaic never seen a tournament at that level, and it was the first boat giveaway. It was a high level tournament.
And how many boats were on that?
40.
That was this. Remember, I remember you saying there was one where there was like a shitload of boats.
Well, I fished
on Castaic.
No, I fished a team tournament back in the 70s. We had some team tournaments back in the 70s that were 150 plus boats. I mean, maybe pushing 170. And we had some crazy tournaments back in the day. Team tournament level. I mean, it was insane. We didn't have a lot of competition, and guys came out. Remember, gas cheap, everything was cheap. Entry fees for $150. So it was very, very functional. I mean, easy to do. And the fishing was good. Everything was good. We had rain. We had water. I mean, the lakes were full. Everything was good. And little did we know, that's all going to be slowly shrinking away from us. But and then continuing to still shrink a little bit from us. But I mean, like I told you earlier, that team tournament, I was fishing Northern California Pro-Am tournament, came home the following week, and I had fished the Piru tournament. And this is Piru with 100, that was 100, and what did I tell you? It was 127 boats.
I think you said 147.
No, it was
127?
I think it was like 127 boats on Piru. And I haven't been there for a while. And then the following weekend, I go and after fishing a Pro-Am, I go there and freaking take what did I tell you? Third. I think I did third place on that tournament. And I'll tell you what. I mean, to fish that lake with that kind of traffic on it.
Yeah.
I mean, we were like one of the last boats out. I mean, it took us. We were like 45 minutes on the water. I mean, fishing 45 minutes later after everybody else. And the winning team, they won. They already had they were real close to where I was, and I found out years later they already had their limit and won the tournament before I even got to my spot.
Yeah.
We were in the same general area, and the tournament was already won.
Yeah.
And there were some guys from Arizona that came out and took third, I think.
Fuck.
Yeah, but it was crazy. And there, the Michael. I'm like, gosh, I look back. I look back on the hard baits. I look back on a lot of my high finishes and some really good accomplishments were on hard baits. And I'm not going to say Michael, but I'm saying hard baits. And I'm looking back and I'm thinking, well, I power fished a lot. More than I ever realized how much power fishing I was doing. And that all goes back to fishing up north. I cut my teeth.
Do you think like for a California guy, like the good guys come from NorCal?
I'm not going to say that 100%. There's good guys coming from all over. We can get into this, weighing. Trust me, there's good guys everywhere. Hey, there's some guys that just can't afford the game that will just go out there and clean house. And it's always been that way. There's a lot of good sticks out there. A lot of good weekend bangers out there. They got the equipment, but they just don't have the time or the money or the desire, But I give them power. But hey, great, But there are a lot of good people out there.
Yeah, that's another thing we talk about is like I guess nowadays their tournaments, they still have those big turnouts for like a Wednesday night or like
up north.
Yeah.
Well, they have all these organizations and these marinas and they got their deals where they do their turkey shoots and their summer deals, which is cool. But they have the water to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't get the luxury to fish at night. We don't get the luxury that they have. They got an expansion of water, bigger numbers of schools. We don't have that down here, and we're on a timeline. We're treated like little Boy Scouts down over here. Okay, I'm serious. I mean, they treat us like little Boy Scouts down here, and that's the drawback of living in Southern California. The minute the wind turns, the minute there's a lightning strike, close the lake, send them home.
Was it like that back in the 90s?
No. Oh, I wish I would have brought that picture of cast steak.
Which one?
The picture of cast steak that I was one of the last boats to come off, and the winds were blowing 70 miles an hour. They were 4 to 5 foot rollers hitting the ramp, and it was
what boat were you in at the time?
I had a Champion. In that deal, I got.
Hey, that day you were a champion.
You have no idea. There were guys that had aluminum boats that were so scared they literally ran them up on the high and dry on the, and then in fact the patrol boat dock was sideways on the ramp. That's how bad things were. This story it's a story. I can tell you really quick, but the pictures speak for itself. And I've shared this with
you. You have the pictures. We'll put it into the podcast if you have a picture.
I have the picture. Then I'll briefly tell you. Yeah. I'll tell you.
Yeah, tell us the story.
This was crazy because I've launched on cast stick with 50 mile an hour winds, and they thought I was crazy. And they've come looking for me, and I hang it. I've got some good limits to some. I've done some crazy stuff, but it's dangerous. You can get blown out. I mean, you got crosswinds, and if you're heading up the fishing arm all the way up Elizabeth and stuff. I had some crazy winds coming down Elizabeth, just howling me, spinning my boat. I mean, coming at me left and right, almost knocking me out. I mean, crazy stuff. But shit, I was young and I was just out there having a blast. I've caught 7, 8, 9 pound fish out there when the wind was blowing like that. Dude. But it was just insane. And then coming back in at the end of the day, I mean, literally, I had my El Camino and I literally had to come in. And the rollers were so bad. I took my car keys with my remote on it, there's no remote with the El Camino back then. And I literally fired my keys up on the ramp, and they had all the LA County lifeguards. They had like 6 or 7 guys out there, all dressed in their wetsuits, helping. Literally, they came in to help and assist the boaters, so nobody would die or get killed on the launch ramp.
That's how big was it? Like huge waves?
They were 4 to 5s.
Crashing on the fucking launch ramp.
They were going over the dock. You gotta the pictures. The pictures will speak for itself when I show you. Okay, so what happened is I throw my keys, and obviously I'm the last car up there. He goes, and gets me El Camino, and now I'm in a Champion. I'm in a 20-foot 201 narrow body Champ. So now I'm thinking, I'm watching the waves. I'm watching how can I put this boat on the trailer when they're crashing like that, right? So he backs my trailer in way too deep, and literally the waves are crashing above. No, higher than the cab of my El Camino. Like when I'm looking at it, and they're come crashing down. I'm like, wow. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to pull out the trailer, have it dry, and I'm gonna have to time myself on these rollers and these waves coming in. I'm gonna have to surf the boat in. Insane. I've had to do this a couple times, but this was by far one of the worst. And literally, half the trailer was out of the water. I mean, dry as you can be. But the waves were crashing, and if I would have, how I got a position and how I was able to do this is a miracle. By far a miracle. God and the stars and everything were lining up to me. I literally time myself, and I said, got one shot. It's either I'm going to go up and come down on the trailer, or I'm going to go up and end up on the back end of my Camino. It's one or the other. And then I'm going to have waves come behind me and they're going to swamp me.
Yeah.
And the boat's going to be going down, right? Well, the waves are going to come behind you no matter what. I found that out after the fact. So I literally came in, timed myself, and I literally riding a wave and lost total view of the Camino, let alone the trailer. I can't even see the trailer. Lost view of the Camino and literally come crashing down and boom, landed right on the trailer, dry. And I got 4 or 5 footers coming over and just flooding my boat.
Man.
And then at that point I told the guy, pull forward just a little bit. He jumped out and we winched a little bit. It took about a half hour, 45 minutes to empty the water out of my boat. It had probably had 100 gallons of water in my boat, but it was insane. And the pictures I'll show you I'll get you the pictures.
But how good was the fishing that day?
That day, I think it was an 8 or a 9. I stuck the biggest one I got that day.
Fuck.
Yeah, but I was catching some pre-spawners, and that's the thing. March is a windy month up there. I like March up there. I usually catch them in that 30 big fish.
Yeah.
In that 30 to 40 foot zone, in March. I like to catch those big fat females in that depth, and I fish deep, and that's the thing. Those fish aren't affected by all the wind and all the turbulence and everything, but it's just feeling the bite and just that's the hardest part is fishing in that condition. But if you know the structure, know those offshore spots, those were the money deals. Just like the guys with the soak and the crawdads, there's certain key spots. I can go there with a bait and go out and do the same thing. Not catch a giant
You'll get bit.
I'm gonna
what you're
bit,
doing, yeah.
But I was catching those good. I was catching my share of those good fish too.
Yeah.
But not the teeners, so to speak. So we just came off track. Let's get back.
So you're back at you finished the tournament.
So
there,
the TOC. So the TOC now is that it's the first day of the TOC, and I had the water left over from the weekend before, and I get this guy. We're going side by side, and he's trying to go faster than me and try to cut me off, and I'm like, hey man, and I needed to get my area.
Yeah.
And I got it. I literally was like, come on, man. I mean, you guys.
You had to pull it out that time.
Guys look at the standings and see what you did the week before, and they see what's going on, or they hear or whatever. And they want to beat you to the spot.
Yeah.
So I got the water and I ended up with 2 fish over 5 pounds. You have
a picture of that too, right?
Yeah, I had a 568 and a 558, I believe. I had a 558.
We're going to drink another one.
I had a 558 and a 568.
Is this one?
These two right here.
Hold those right there. So what we're going to do is I'm going to scan these, but I'm just going to show you guys this way. And I'm gonna scan them and put it on there. So that's kind of like a look at that fucking hair still flowing.
That's the 2 fish on that one side right there. The far fish, the opposite single fish. That was another team. That was a team tournament during the summer.
And this is Acastaic.
That's another Castaic fish too. That was a team tournament. I did really good. Had big fish in that tournament too.
So yeah, I mean I like the history. Is fucking awesome. Is this the same?
So. No.
This is next. Okay.
No.
All right.
So getting back to the TOC, yeah. So I ended up. It was a 2-day tournament, and I ended up getting my water the second day. And what happened is, I only weighed in 6 fish for the whole weekend for 2 days. I weighed 5 fish in the first day, and the second day I weighed 1 fish in, and I ended up losing the tournament. Like 3.5 pounds. And that was the first boat giveaway, Southern California pro division, basically, that they gave away. And I ended up taking second place, missed it by 3.5 pounds. And I had the winning fish at the end of the day on a rip bait come in on me and just came right to the boat and stopped and looked at me and said, no, I'm not going to eat your bait.
He said, fuck you, Kelly.
Basically, So I ended up taking a second place. I got a little bit of money. And that just gave me the momentum. and just the respect from the northern boys as well, and all the other guys as well. I mean, we had guys coming from, we had like 5 states out here.
Damn.
Yeah, John Murray, you know, there were some good sticks that came out. There's a lot of guys that feel intimidated by fishing Cass State because of the size.
I had Shane Morgan on. If you listen to his podcast, it was last week. Yeah, but probably a month ago now. He talked about how big of it was, like a trophy bass lake for a while. You know, like the people, they've been clients there and stuff. Do you remember when any of that happened? Like guides and stuff were going there and bringing lots of like dudes from Japan and shit there.
Oh yeah,
you know?
oh yeah.
But that being that popular of a lake at the same time is like, did it, after you getting that win, did it kind of give you the confidence to go like?
It's not considered.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry,
it's
not
not
the win.
considered a
You
win.
gotta-
It's not considered a win because
After getting that-
nobody remembers second place.
Okay, after
Trust me.
after that accomplishment, second place is a big deal.
It was a milestone, but
Okay.
it was a jump start and kind of really got me, you know, it got me going and really just solidified and just said, you know what, man, I can do this. Yeah, it was my home lake, but it was just like, you know, I was in tune to what was happening, and things were good, and it just gave me the momentum to jump into 1991 Pro-Ams and go on solid fishing the Northern Division in the West Coast Bass Pro-Ams. And there was only out of that there was only like 2. Me and Bob Morrison from Southern California were the only 2 there. Oh, there was Kerry Circlue too, and Jack Sykes.
Okay.
But I was in it like full. I mean, going hard and really committed. Bob was too. But the deal
Hey,
was,
here's a question: how many Mexican dudes were there? Always, huh?
no. You know, actually, there was no Temporalis from up north. Temporalis was from the Northern Division. Yeah. So okay. So now. So the momentum's there. I finished the TOC. I'm going full on 91, and I'm ranking really high. I'm doing good 91 tournaments. I'm just
Quick question: that bass series you're entering, how
West
long?
Coast
and
Bass.
how long has that been around at the time?
West Coast Bass has been around a few years.
And I'm saying,
well,
when
yeah.
you were fishing, was it around like 5-6 years before?
I won't say
You-
that long because remember going back to like 87, mid 80s, you know, the boat on boat draws and all that was all transitioning from like the mid 80s into
Okay.
the late 80s. And then that was like evolving, and then West Coast Bass came into play, and then they were having their whole style. And then, you know, the Pro-Am concept came into play. Besides, you know, going boat on boat, and then once the Pro-Am concept came in, that changed everything. And in 91 is when I went in pretty hard and heavy, committed myself to fish the Northern Circuit and qualify. And I'm thinking, let's go for it. And little did I know, they have a West Coast Bass Classic at the end of the year. And it's a mini Bassmaster Classic. And nobody has done this out here on the West Coast or the Western United States like West Coast Bass did. I'm talking Ranger boats came out with brand new boats for everybody. The local dealership had all brand new Ford trucks for us. Free gas, loaded. You had a loaded boat full of gas, brand new boat, all new equipment, everything brand new, top of the line, and that's what you fished out of. We pre-fished out of our own private boats, let alone we had an end of the year banquet. We had a free meal. We had our own parking spots, rooms. All that was.
We have a little clip, so we'll put it up right now. So here, we're going to play it right now for you guys. You guys can see it. So this is they had your own parking spot labeled and everything ready to go.
I show up, and I got 2 parking spots for me, and they have one for your boat.
Fishing,
Oh, it's amazing.
everything and anything.
This is cool, man. This is like something super different.
He had some real good finishes this year. He finished 4th at the Classic last year, or 91.
What boat did you have right there?
92, he finished 2nd at Clear Lake, 9th at Castaic, 93 he finished 10th at the Delta.
Look how young you were, man, right there. Look at you.
Finishes. make the West Coast Bass Classic.
So let's break this down. Hold on.
Let's stop for a second. Dude, that's not the right one.
No, this isn't what? This is 91?
No. How did we get that screwed up?
Uh-oh. My bad. I have the 91 of the
The 91's got the silver and blue jackets.
Okay,
That's
okay, I have the 91
That's
of you.
93, 92 or 93.
Okay, let's do I have the wrong one. My bad, guys.
You're going to cut that out?
No, fuck it. We'll come back to it. Cancel.
Refer to the manual.
That's me. Oh, here we go, right here. Hold on.
Got to keep an eye on you.
Let's see, I'm almost there. Almost.
That's what she said.
Look at that guy.
Damn.
Okay. Okay. All right. I think we're good now. This fucking auto switching thing's not working the way I wanted it to, so let's see how this works. Ready, guys?
Okay, here we go. I'm trying.
Here we go.
There, that looks familiar. There's 99. That's
You want another drink?
November.
You want another one?
Bartender,
He has the
plenty of ice in that Kool-Aid.
Mixed with Coke or
Plenty of ice on that Kool-Aid.
straight. So this is the 91. You guys can see it right there.
Yeah, that's November. That was November 20th, 1991. That was, West Coast Bass Classic.
So this is just kind of the actual film of us looking at it, and you had like a MLF type thing where they had a guy filming.
This is no. This is we had observers in the boat.
Okay.
We each had an observer, and I was fortunate. My observer, I believe, for 2 days, David Kaiton, he had
There you go, right there.
He had a camera.
What are you doing right there?
He had a camera. There we go. That's what we're talking about.
Cranking?
Oh yeah. Bomber Model A red crawl. Oh yeah.
So how's that feel on the second day of your tournament?
Oh, second day.
Fish. Well, I got a 2-pound fish.
Man, look at you, man.
Got myself a 2-pound fish. I feel good.
Did you feel good, Kelly?
Oh, this.
Oh, another one.
Filming? Yeah.
Yeah, I never had a camera boat in the boat like that. It was like.
I'll take them. This is what it'll take to get in the classic right here, 1.75 pound average.
That's 2 day two
Ooh, that's a nice one.
2 days of
That's a nice one.
2 days of elimination rounds. 2 days of elimination rounds. They took the top 20 from the north.
This is on the Delta, those, right?
California Delta. We launched and went out of Old Sacramento.
That's a good 2.5.
And we had the top 20 from the Southern Division, the top 20 from the Northern Division, and then they mixed us up. They mixed everybody up, and I got paired up with a bunch of the biggest sticks on the Northern Division.
All right.
I had to fish 2 days for qualifying around. Okay, so we had 20 and 20 that were all scrambled up and mixed up, and then they took the top 10 from each group that made it after the second day to the final day. So we all fished that final third day for a winner take all, basically, and that was the final day for a boat.
Was that invitation only?
Qualifying. Point qualifiers.
So the one you're showing right now is that how does that work? Did you had point qualifiers from the Castaic tournament?
This was qualifying.
He doesn't want. He didn't.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. I'll have a little
You
cool.
really fucked it up, Daniel. Thank you.
Trust me, it looks like it's a lot of Coke, but it's like
It's
barely. Trust me, you'll taste it.
Oh, great. Great. We got another one coming. Hot one coming with Kelly.
wow. This feels like, I don't know. It seems like it's more like 31 flavors. So Wow, you just threw me out there.
Oh, it's
all right,
coming.
All right, so now.
So point qualifier from Castaic, you made.
No. We're talking about the 91 qualifiers for the 91 season.
How did you get into the 91 season?
I made it. I believe I was ninth. I made it overall point standings. I was like number 9, which is my first.
So here we go. Give me a
first-
comparison. Like, is it
first
you made
year-
the opens? Like, if you compared like, what I'm thinking about, I want to know. Like, okay, it's like if you fished the opens, you made it to the classic, or whatever. You won the opens. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it has nothing about winning a tournament. It's
Points.
best 5 or 6 tournaments that you did, total points, that makes you put you in the qualifying, which will take the top 40.
Was the series a different series that you got into?
You're
or was it
fishing.
the same?
It's Northern Division.
Okay.
All Northern Lakes. And I qualified out of the point race. I believe it was like 6 tournaments, and I took 9th place overall in the point standings. First year going at it first, hard. So I had the momentum from the TOC going into 91, and that's the whole thing, is that confidence and the momentum, and just you're driven. And it just kept pushing me through. And I fished pretty clean.
So this was this time right here we're looking at.
91.
Okay.
91. And there we were at the Classic, the West Coast Bass
So let's
Classic.
get back and look at what we're talking about there.
So 2 days of elimination, remember, guys? 2 days of elimination, and then the third day, the top 10 from each division, from each split division, where they split us up there and put us in 2 different areas. I mean, 2 different groups.
And this is this day right now.
And this is the second day.
Second day.
This is the
Okay.
second. This is qualifying round. This is a qualifying round here. And I was really actually doing good in numbers. I was solid and increasing my weight every day a little bit.
You have a good one right here,
And,
huh?
and evidently, if I got the net out, there's a reason why the net's out. Okay. You notice I don't always take the net. I'm not one for nets, but I'll tell you what. I took the net out that time too.
What is that right now? Let's break this fish down.
Really good.
Look at that. That's a nice fish. You can see by the shadows right there. It's a good fish.
Yeah, but that fish, gosh, I can't even tell you. I can't, to be honest with you, I haven't seen this video. We're going over a video that I haven't seen in, 18 years?
So this is what I made. I made Kelly bring VHS tapes. I have my buddy Anthony bring a VHS down. I recorded all of them on the computer so we could watch them back like this. And
that's the guy I got to have making my drink right there.
Thank you. Give me high fives.
There you go.
Thank you, dude. Okay.
Next
Thank you
time,
so much.
Next time you're going to bring my drink, you'll get it right.
Thank you.
Wow.
Daddy, that is your drink.
Oh shit! Thank you
Was
so
that-
much.
was that
Who
mine?
made that? Did Mom make that? Dude, that is not Mom's. No, I don't. Thank you. Oh, this is Kelly's. Oh, this is. He had one already.
It's fine. I'm good
Dude,
with. I'm
that
good.
is strong as shit. Rocks. Thank you, Axton.
You almost spit that at me.
That's the apple one.
Dude. Okay, here's.
It's fine.
Oh,
It's
we're
fine.
gonna be here all night, Rocks.
Okay, so you have to scrape me up off the floor. No, we're good.
So this is the cool thing is that we transfer all these VHSs. We have another video as well. We put them on here so we can watch them and break them down. So this is cool. I'm catching you off guard with this.
This is like a time capsule exploding in my face. That, dude, this is like history, and I mean for West Coast.
Yeah.
I mean, this is serious history for West Coast that the younger generation hasn't even have a clue.
And I'm sure there's a lot of dudes up north that their dads fish this or
Yes,
knew,
yes. But it's like I say, going back in time. This is all history being made and building up the tournament scene to where it is today. But the thing is that we had it good and the money was there, and we don't have
that anymore.
We don't have any of what we have that I experienced to that level. We don't have it too much. I mean, yes, we do have a circuit out here. We got the Wild West. We got the Apex.
Apex is cool.
Apex,
yeah.
which is that's breaking through, and that's a whole nother level. But back then and for the past 20 years, we really haven't had it. So now,
back to your fish. We were looking at. That
so
was a big
as far as that fish,
so
right
we'll even play it for you really quick so you can see it again.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it looks, a solid fish that's going to definitely put me in the standings there.
Do you remember what you were fishing right there? Some.
Well, listen, I might. There's volume to it.
That right there is going to put me in the classic, I hope.
That's what, like a 3?
Probably 3¼ pounds.
You know now.
You said 3 1/4. You said
I think, yeah, you know, I think we scanned through and we saw a picture of that. You know, I weighed that fish in.
There's
It weighed.
another one. Look it.
Yeah, that fish I think weighed almost 3.5.
So this day you're doing good on the crank. That was the deal. The crank was the deal that day.
Well, it's fall. It's fall, and up in Northern California, fall is a reaction deal predominantly. You want to catch numbers, and you got a shot at catching quality. And I wasn't chasing tides, and I wasn't running way down south and making those super long runs like a lot of guys. But when certain guys see this video, they're gonna know where I fished. You know, it's no secret. But I found an area, and I had a few areas, and I had a backup spot, and I had a game plan. I literally took my map. I'm fishing by map. I'm holding sections of a map that I've cut into different sections, and I have it in a laminated. And I'm navigating with a map, no GPS. I'm navigating, and I.
Oh yeah, you don't. This is another thing is. You had no electronics.
We had
electronics.
we had bare minimum. I mean,
Did you have that printer map thing like?
The Lowrance paper graph.
Yeah.
That was I think that was a little earlier, and then we started getting before we got into the liquid crystal and stuff. But it was all basic. But here's what I wanted to say is that I needed to do some pre-fish, and I needed to run. I needed to make runs all the way from Sacramento down to Stockton and everything in between, and time myself. And I'm writing all these different numbers of time for running. So when I'm fishing, I know how much time I have, so I don't get DQ'd. I only have 8 hours to run from Sacramento. If I wanted to go down to Lads or fish in Stockton or Big Break or whatever, you're looking at only 3 hours of fishing, 4 hours of fishing maybe. Depends on how much you run. And it's not a lot of time. So I kind of centralize myself at work, and I maximize and have a shot at catching numbers, but yet alone having a shot of being. I needed to qualify.
Did tides play it? This is my question for you. You were fishing calico and spotty when you were younger. Like, did you ever? Never did.
No. I wasn't fishing any salt water.
No salt.
No, no.
So tides were a new thing when you went
Tides
to the
were
Delta.
crazy, yeah, but I couldn't wrap myself around the tide. It's just a lot of work and time management, and then you got to hope that nobody else is on your spot when you run 20 minutes, and then there's two boats in your spot. Then you're running. I can't do that. So I manage my time around the tide as far as I learned how to fish a low tide, a high tide, and I treated it like a lake. And it helped me in the long run. But back then, now we're getting sidetracked, but that was these weights and this time when I'm fishing up there in the late 80s, early 90s, it was all predominantly northern strain. The Floridas are just growing at that point.
Are you trying to say the bags are a little smaller than they should be?
Back then, when you're catching 10, 12 pounds a day, you're a hero. Okay? I mean, I cashed many a check with 9.5 to 10 pounds a day. You look today, they'll laugh at you. You won't even. I mean,
what do you? I fucking just caught 8 something.
It's crazy. I'm telling you, you're on the weights and the stats that I have right now, and I look back and I'm like, man, these people today would just like laugh at you. It would be like
let's keep looking at this as well. I kind of want to break it down even more. Just you. It's cool for you to see a time capsule.
Call him. Call the other guy. I think so. I think I can call this guy by about 1/4 pound. Nice and gold. Yep. He won't go.
What do you remember throwing here? Is that crank too?
I switched it up with a spinnerbait too a little bit. You know,
Looks like you have a spinnerbait going on right there.
Back in the day, I had a Nichols sponsorship with this Nichols spinnerbait, and that was my bread and butter too. Nichols spinnerbait was really the deal. I love the Nichols spinnerbait.
Damn.
You know, I threw the crank. You know, I switched it up from a Bomber A to a rattle trap.
You know, it's crazy is when I went down there with Caesar, all this shit looks the same, dude. Like you're driving, and it's like it looks the fucking same, you know.
Yeah,
You got him at this.
Yeah,
You're
see,
getting him.
I'm throwing. Oh, that is not a rattle trap. That
I don't think this guy will come.
that's I can't even. I'm not gonna be able to think of it. That's the gold. It's a version of a rattle trap.
That's not. I thought it was spinnerbait. I just didn't see it.
No.
Oh shit.
Okay, so here I am going down the levee. I'm going down the levee. I'm searching. I've already got a limit of fish.
Okay.
And I'm just running some water right now after I got a limit of fish, and I'm running some water. Had a little bit of time, so I went out venturing around. I'm just catching those 1.5 to 2 pounders, and I'm like, man, I need something bigger. You know, I'm trying to find those 2.5 to 3 pound class fish. And that's what I was doing. I was running around, and that's all you're doing. I'm trying to break 10, 12 pounds at least and be consistent. And that was the key. But I ended up catching more like 11 pound plus a day. And my weights were, for back then when you're, average is like 7 to, an average, they're catching 7 to 8.5 pound limits, So,
Tilt that up a little.
man, is that moving on me? Is there a ghost or what? I'm not touching it.
No, I know it needs to be fucking a little closer to your mouth. Just tilt it up. Go. Yeah, look at you. You know how to grab that thing,
dude, two-handed. Shit.
huh? Two-handed. You feel like you're in prison again.
I got a broken hand, dude. I can't fish now.
So you found that bite out with the with the rattle trap. You're just going right above the fucking rip wrap.
Okay. That time.
Do you want to take it back a little and kind of talk about it?
Don't need to.
Okay.
There's hydrilla.
Uh-huh.
Tons of hydrilla. So what I was doing, I was fishing on top of the hydrilla and around the edge of the hydrilla, and I'm fishing the rattling bait, and I'm fishing the rattling bait right along the edges or on top of the hydrilla, and I'm literally drawing strikes, and they're coming right out and just tearing it up. But with the diving bait, the model with the bomber, I got to be on the edge. And I literally had this all in my, I can't see anything. I'm fishing by memory and by feel, okay? And just kind of landmarking it, on seeing where I'm casting and putting the bait, because the water visibility is only 1 foot to 2 feet.
And you have no fish finder, like
I got nothing to show me.
you had nothing on the trolling motor, like
I got nothing. There's nothing there. So you got to make sure every cast, remember where you're casting to keep an idea, a bearing of where you're throwing to be on the edge of that weed. You need to be in the strike zone, and you need to be putting that. If not, you're going to be in the weeds, foul. You're going to be foul casting, hung up. You're wasting time. But I got myself in a rhythm, and you got to let the rod tip and let the bait tell you where you need to be, and also your retrieve speed ratio. And I'm telling you, and then when I would just barely tick the weeds and just rip that rattle bait, bam. I mean, it was.
So this is where I always ask the question is like, man, what do you think electronics like really gives you? Like, I know it gives you like what you need, but there's also that feel, like that old school, like where you can touch and feel, like look, use memory, use something that maybe the electronics won't give you, and that gives you everything you need, but there's still that thing missing. You know what I'm saying? Like another.
Well, being in touch of your elements and your environment, and the closer you can get to it, and that's a Rick Clunn deal there. I mean, he's like so focused in camping next to the lake and being in tune with the conditions, the water, the air, the surroundings. And when you can get in touch with Mother Nature and get in that zone, your mind, you fall into it, everything just flows. And that's the thing too. Once you acclimate yourself to the environment, you become part of the environment. Think about that.
I agree 100%. That's why I kind of like the way you guys fished back then was a lot different, because you didn't have all the electronics, so it was more like
topographical maps, bro.
Yeah.
Topographical maps, and having to read them, learn them, and go by that. I mean, so much that now it's on your printer and your computer. It's right there. It's endless. It really is. But just like anything else, if you keep fishing the same bodies of water, you're going to know where to go.
Yeah.
Unless there's severe elevation changes, but you have to adjust. But, you know, now it's just icing on the cake to have the technology we have. It's a whole different game. These tournaments are being won now and guys cashing in on video fishing. That's all they're doing is they're picking out the fish and working them and casting.
But does it matter? Like, you know what I'm saying? If you can win, you win. Like,
Hey,
I know we
you know-
talked about it last night. Me and Joe was like, if I fish a certain bait that people don't like or shit on, if it's legal, what does it matter? If you're winning, fuck it.
Well, that's true to some extent, but you know, technology, you know, is become to the point where everybody depends on it every day just to live. People can't live without it. People will.
Now look at all the shit I have right here on the fucking desk right here.
Could you imagine if Instagram or Facebook or just the simple basics would just fall apart and it would not be available? This younger generation they'd commit suicide. I mean, they couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
You know, because that's their life. That's their lifeline. That's their umbilical cord.
But maybe that's just how it is these days. Like,
Well,
back in the day,
It
it
weakens.
was a
It
day,
weakens you. It weakens you because, again, you got to be in touch of what's around your surroundings. If you're not in touch with your surroundings, you want to be in some fairy tale world. Hey, but when you hit the street, open the door and look out the window. Hey, there's a big bad bear out there, man.
I agree.
Okay.
Like the bear at Pyru.
Yeah, I never shared the pictures. I got the pictures to back that up too. I got to share that with you one day.
I believe you. Let's get back to looking at this video.
That bear almost was yours. That bear was almost about.
The bear fucking scared me, dude.
Hey, we put a little bear costume on you. You'd be about the same size.
Look at here. What are you doing now? Same thing?
Yeah, that's
Rattle trap?
That's not a rattle. Oh, gosh, it's the other one, like the rattle trap. I can't even tell you the name of it. Here we go.
Okay, now what's going on here?
We're in Old Town Sacramento.
So kind of talk about that experience a little.
So what happens in Old Town Sacramento? We come off the Sacramento River, and what we're doing is we're pulling up off the river by the steamboat, and there's a stairway that goes up on top. We're coming in out of fishing in a brand new Ranger boat. They filled up our tanks with gas. We didn't pay for gas. Pull up, bag your fish, walk up the steps, and there's another fully rigged brand new Ranger, brand new Ford truck. You hop in with your fish, and they parade you down, go you down Main Street, and there's, sometimes 1,000 people plus waving at you, applauding you, and you go right down the Main Street. Local TV stations, you got news, you got cameras. Larry Viviano did it right. And based out of Sacramento, he had all the support from the local TV companies, businesses and people, a lot of coverage. It was a good situation for anybody who had sponsorship back then. And me, I just, I had Phoenix, California worms.
Phoenix what?
Phoenix rods.
You used to fish for Phoenix before, really?
I had exclusive Phoenix rods. Yeah, I fished them for many years back in the day. Yeah.
Who owned it then?
That was Larry Howard. Oh yeah, and Ty was managing over there, and yeah, they took care of me, and yeah, it was really really good times, good stuff. And I like I say, I improved on my tackle between and had California worms. George Pultz had all the worms I wanted, and then as time progressed, I got other sponsorships too. In fact, I got a Berkeley trialing sponsorship out of this tournament.
No way.
For years.
This was they'll show you do the weigh-in on this one as well, right?
There should be a weigh-in, I believe.
Let's keep looking.
You're gonna see me come in and do some. There's gonna be some weights. I don't know there's 2 days or maybe two. I don't know about.
Is that you right there?
Well,
no, that's not you.
Okay, so this.
This is our first time seeing this. I
remember there was two videos.
Yeah.
There was two videos. There was
so the other one was from the next year, 3 years later. 2 years later.
Yeah, you got to spend some more time on the water.
Is that you? No, it's not you. It's another long hair, just like you, almost like you.
Looks like a real nice fish. 3.68. Real nice kicker fish.
Remember, this is a long video.
That's you. No.
That's not me.
No.
No.
All right, let's scroll a little. Hold on. Tell me if you look anyone that looks like you. Or if you see
There you are back. No, keep going. There's Dobbins.
Let's go look at him.
Yeah.
Is him right there?
Yeah, there's Dobbins right there.
Well, it's some cool history, you know, like people can see like so the whole reason I wanted Kelly on is like he's done. I feel like you've had like a career, like multiple careers bass fishing. You know, you've been doing it forever.
That was a hobby. It was a hobby that, you know, that honestly, back in the late 80s, I had to make a decision. Do I want to take it and go national? You know, after looking at Jay Ellis, you got Murray, you got Klein. Well, Klein was the one who started it all. Mm-hmm. But you got, I mean, especially Murray, he was like pumping me big time, you know. And I'm like, you know, after fishing this tournament, and we went from this to the Bassathon, and then Murray's on his way to another tournament the following week, and goes, Kelly, he goes, you going, right? And I'm like, what? He goes, you going to the next tournament? I go, I can't. I just bought a house. I got a ready-made family. I'm like, he goes, dude, you're on a roll. You got to keep the momentum going. And it didn't really click on me like I thought, you know, and I thought to back after it, because that's what he does. He had a van back then, and he had 10 gallons of oil in his van, and he went from tournament to tournament just cleaning house, you know. And I'm like, I already committed myself, and I was already things were changing. You know, my life was changing. So I was.
But you ever think about?
I was a working fisherman. Okay, working tournament fisherman, and that was the whole thing. The Pro-Am concept, the West Coast Bass Deal, was designed for the working man. We had a cutoff for a week, and then we had 2 day. We had a Thursday, Friday pre-fish, and Saturday, Sunday tournament. That's designed for the working guy, typically. And like up there, I'm fishing against those northern boys. A lot of them didn't even pre-fish. So I have to go and travel.
They knew it. They just knew it.
I have, you know, you're looking at 6 days for me to do a Pro-Am.
Here's a question for you. Now I can cut this out if you don't want to answer it. Shane, I think I've had 4 guests come on say they got divorced because of fishing.
It doesn't surprise me.
It
was the beginning. I'll put it this way. It was the beginning. Well, you're on the subject now, and it's, you know, unfortunately, but it's life. And little did I know that.
And the only reason I'm asking you this because you could have had, like, for me, my music, I cut it off. Yeah, I cut my music off because I'm like, okay, I know that if I keep doing this, my wife's gonna be like, oh, we're done. Like, I was ready to go on that tour, and I'm like, part of me said, like, it was a big tour. It was like I think it was a U.S. tour, then we did a European tour after, and I'm like, fuck, if I do this, I think this will be it. Like, it's not going to happen.
Well, you know what the smart ones do?
What do they do?
What they do? I'll tell you right now. Here's what they do. They don't marry a California woman.
Ooh, I fucked up.
Okay, I'm going to tell you flat out right now. And I was involved in around a lot of musicians and high profile people, from dignitaries to all levels of industry, even movies, and very famous people through the trade and stuff, and doing the NAMM show. Dude, I seen some crazy shit and heard some crazy stories, but you want to know something? All those musicians, the smart ones, when they toured, they went and got women from out of, not California women. They got women that were out there that were wholesome women, that were true, had morals, brought them here to California, put a baby in them, and kept them home, and they toured.
Yeah, I wasn't in a band.
And but let me finish. They did this, but they knew they had a woman that would be there for them. And some of them, you know, some of the guys are loyal and smart, you know. But the thing is that the ones that were trying to find the perfect scenario and live it and truly, you know, fly straight, they were successful. And they kept their woman. Well, some guys have to fly to this day. Some guys don't. When they'll come home, the guys on the top of the food chain, I'm not going to mention any names, but they will fly. They literally will fly home. They'll leave their rig there, and they'll have a guy. They'll have their own driver take their boat rig and everything, and store and take it from tournament to tournament for them, or they'll store it.
Or a
And
lot of dudes will have their wife with
they
them.
Fly. Sometimes some of them will, but they'll fly. Once they have their kids and everything, they're already established here on the West Coast or wherever, not just West Coast. And then they'll just come and spend the weekend or whatever, or a few days off to keep their marriage. But my situation was, I got involved in a scenario that I didn't know there were plans for me, plans that I didn't know that were already made. And little did I know that there was nothing in my favor as far as it was all to be taken away from me. Little did I know. And then you get to a point where, you don't realize that everything's all said and done, but it was all to take me away from my true love, my passion, my fishing. And then once you get sponsors, you're committed. I was doing all Fred Hall shows. I sold a lot of product. I was top sales and all for all my sponsors. I was having fun. And, little did I know, it all caught up to me eventually, and it did. And I got divorced. But
Do you think that was because of fishing?
But
I'm not.
No, I did the divorce. I forced the divorce. I'm not going to get into details, but I had to do this to keep myself alive, because I was really literally being taken down. Literally taken down a bad place. And it got to a point where I had to protect myself. And I said, you know what? And I did. And it almost cost me my life. Literally. And I'll tell you what, it's not worth. No woman is worth it. I'll tell you what.
I love my wife.
And no woman should put their husband or their man in a compromising situation, or even to fight over them. If they love you,
this is a weird conversation, because I feel like when we talk about this, I feel like I've said this a couple times.
We going Jerry Springer here?
No, but I mean, like I told Roxanne before, I'm like, this is like having my second band. She goes, what do you mean? I'm like,
yeah.
Well,
you're on tour now.
And I'm like, well, I quit my first band, and I played in other bands with dudes you guys heard, Mark Chouinard from Bass Brains, Brian Lipke. These dudes, I know them because of music, not because of fishing. So for me, this is like my second run at a tour, and I'm like, I love it. And this time she's like, I back you. And she's like, I get when I was young, it was like, I was a fucking knucklehead. Like I didn't give a shit. Like even as a dad, like when I first had my oldest, I was a fucking idiot. You don't know. Like I'm 5 years old with a 2-year-old, 3-year-old. And I'm like, I can't believe I was like, and I hang out with idiots like Seth Niswanger, complete fucking retard. And he's a buddy of mine, and we just fished a tournament. But I'm going, I can't believe I was Seth's age when I had a fucking kid. You know what I'm saying? But you know what it's you just think about shit, and I'm like, my son, I love my son. It's fun. It's done. It's nice. But you just think about shit, and I know we're off topic, but like, this is the podcast. This is what we fucking do. We talk about all kinds of random shit. And the only reason I ask you that is because we went from topic to topic, and I still have the video waiting. That's why I told you, everyone, this is a big one coming. This is a long podcast.
This is going to probably have to be a part 2 at the rate that we're going.
No, it's not. We're going to do a fucking long-ass motherfucker.
All right. Hold on. Hey, go to the liquor store or do what you got to do. Go get your groceries and sit down and freaking hold on, because we're going for a ride here. This rodeo hasn't even started.
Hey, the chilote is coming, fool.
Oh, shit. Damn.
Okay, let's get back to
It's
this
a good
video.
thing we're not in Tijuana.
So we're going to get back to the video. Dobbins. So Dobbins, you fish with them. Very popular rod company now. Like everyone fishes Dobbins.
Yeah.
He didn't have a rod then at all. Right?
Oh, no. Dobbins was just Dobbins doing his thing. And he, there's a ton of history on him. He was won a shitload of tournaments and done his things, and everybody everybody was transitioning. Everybody was growing with the tournament scene and evolving. We all were doing our things. And just some of us were just fortunate to live in the mother lode. They called it the mother lode. Dobbins lived in the mother lode.
Why do they call it the mother lode?
You're an hour and a half from everything.
Okay.
An hour and a half. And Dobbins lived in the mother lode. When you're within an hour and a half of all the primo lakes, the tournament, highest points of tournament fishing, you got an opportunity there.
What are the lakes that consist of the mother lode?
Well, you can start from the Delta and head everything up north all the way to Orville, basically, and everything in between. Basically Sacramento base too. But once you get out of from Orville, then you're then you got to venture off. Then you got to venture off to Clear Lake. You got to venture off to Shasta. But typically that mother lode region, you got all the. You got Pedro, you got Maloney's.
Maloney's is there too, right?
Yeah, you got Maloney's as well. So there's just so many.
Would Clear Lake be a mother lode lake or no?
No, I wouldn't consider. Clear Lake was like 2.5 hours out of Sacramento. I'm looking at an hour.
Took me forever, dude. When I fucking went from Bailey's to fucking Caesars, it was like about 2 hours.
It's like 2.5 hours. So now we're at the weigh-in again. And
this is Dobbins now.
Yeah, he's weighing in. I like I say, I haven't seen this video in like 18 years. So.
He had 9.04 pounds for his first day. He's got 2 fish today. Jerry, do you think you're going to be enough?
No, I'm way light. I really messed up today. Barry, I've been fishing, the water turned muddy, so I went out for the big fish out in the big water out there. I tell you what, this wind ain't even blowing here like it is out there. It's unreal.
Okay, you hear that?
Yeah.
You got tidal influence and you got wind blowing. Is not good. And over on the Delta, when your shit turns muddied up and it gets blown out, you ain't getting bit. Okay, and let alone, what we had to do, and that was the thing, going back to calculating my travel time, we were fighting an upcurrent river system going upriver that's slowing you down. You're fighting that as well too. And then we even had a lock up there we went through, and the lock,
no way.
the lock out of Walnut, just south of Walnut, it was Walnut Park. They closed that lock on us one of the years at the Classic. They didn't DQ us, but there was a northern to Tuolumne, or trying to think of the name of the river. There was a north and south fork, and I ended up going up the other river. I didn't wait, but they told us, we made a phone call. There was a phone call made, and supposedly they weren't going to DQ any of us. Some guys waited for the lock to open up. I said no, because I learned how to navigate, and that was the key. I learned how to navigate, and I had to go up a smaller river chain. And let me tell you, it's hairy. You're going up these small rivers. You're only 20, 30 feet across, and you're doing 65.
It's we're going fast. You're going fast, and the shitty thing is, the crazy thing is like there's this. I don't know what they are. There's like these little like clumps of, I don't know what the fuck they are, but I saw Caesar. It looks like a clump of like mud or something. But they'll fuck your boat up, right? You got
tule clumps, but you also have tule berms. You got moss berms. Mm-hmm. That are in the middle out there and stuff. On a low tide, you'll lose your stuff. You're gonna lose it.
Yeah,
but
right.
That's it's pretty gnarly. But also too is that that we're fishing this on our timeline, and that timeline is your biggest your biggest issue. And some guys do get DQ'd. They will get DQ'd from it because they're not time. It's time management.
Sorry, Daniel's texting me. I said no. Yes. Was the drink strong for Kelly? I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. This is what we do. This is fun. So this is how we fuck off, and this is how I make the podcast fun for everyone. So now we're gonna get back to Dobbins. Let's go.
Yeah. So he just weighed in, and he's not too happy about his weigh. It looks like he didn't get him. Like I say, he's disappointed. But that's how it's tournament fishing, man.
2.23 pounds. Gary Dobbins, Yuba City, California. All right, Mr. Mike North pulling up his scales on the Southern California Pro.
Who's Mike?
Yes, Mike North. He's the one who won the TOC at Castaic. He was out of Castaic back then. Yeah,
really?
Yeah, he was out there. This this is the '91 Classic.
Let's find you, dude.
Fast forward. Right there.
All right, time for some Mexicans.
6.7.
Here we go.
All right.
Now, here are the weights, guys. Dobbins just weighed in 2 point something, and now you got a 6 point something weight. And here I'm coming in with my bag of shame.
Looks like he's got the cut locked for Friday.
Again, I don't even know what I have here. This is time capsule.
But it's so cool to see, like, you see Old Town, you know, like the
One of our West Coast bass fishermen. This is our team event. Walked out and said, "Would you like some giveaways for the tournament?" And I said, "Sure." He said, "Did you know that I fish your events?" And I said, "No, but I do now." At the scales, Mr. Kelly Puppo from North
was it Kelly Puppo or Puppo?
He didn't trash it like
You
you did. He didn't trash it like you did.
He didn't trash it like you did.
Hey, check it out. I'm reminiscing now.
Kelly had his 5 fish, 2 fish,
That's a nice fish.
fish.
Yeah, they look pretty solid.
Yeah.
9.58 pounds. Reaching down for his 3rd fish, another nice fish. Kelly does not have a lot of time on the water in the Delta. Fished the Delta 6 or 7 times. He's done an outstanding job.
Oh, looks like you got something big. You're being a very fucking dramatic right now. If you look at him in the picture, if you guys could watch YouTube.
Hey, Larry's giving me some love. Cállate. Oh, we got something coming up here.
Here we go, guys. Big fish.
Something's going on.
Boy, there's a beauty. Well, there's 2 real nice fish.
Oh.
Here we go. Oh, fuck me. You pulled it out. You pulled the chilote out. Look at that walk. You fucking knew right there. That's a gangster walk right
Shit,
there.
I'm walking on water.
Kelly, the wind obviously didn't bother you. Did you change it?
Well, I did change a little bit. I'll tell you, the wind really did affect me in the morning, but I used it to my advantage. I had a limit by 9:30, and I went about an hour without a bite. So then I went looking for some other water. The wind don't blow tomorrow, because it will hurt me to some extent.
Right?
Damn.
But I think it's really going to take about 13, 14 pounds tomorrow.
Dude, fucking great bag.
It's gonna take
11 fucking 13.
We had an outstanding limit today. That with 9.58, and what did he have today? 11.13.
Dude, that's really fucking good.
Great job, Kelly. Kelly Puppo, North Hollywood, California.
You're from North Hollywood at the time, huh?
Nice guy in the boat and a heck of a fisherman.
Yeah.
10 guys from Redding, California.
San Fernando Valley.
Wow.
So, yeah, my weights were increasing. My weights were increasing and consistently and increasing and getting better. And I've had some solid fish. I mean, those 1 or 2 bites every day separate you. And to this day, it's those 1 to 2 bites.
That's
And-
good
and
bag,
when
dude. That
you're-
was really good bag.
But when you're fishing a multi-day tournament, that's what it takes. When you're catching those 1 to 2 decent fish per day, multiply that 2-3 days. But also don't forget, our weights are after the second day, you qualify to fish the last and final day.
Does that reset then? Is it resets everything?
You start over, man, and it's a whole new day. And this is after a lot of guys have already hit the water and been fishing. Like I say, you're fishing. You fish one day. That you get a day. I believe you got a day off. How did that work?
Was it no fishing the day off?
I believe it was a day off because you had. Yeah, so you got all this pressure from 40 guys from each 40 guys period, and that's a lot of pressure for the Delta. Okay, and it doesn't seem like it, but these guys know how to run the Delta, and they're fishing a lot of the same waters, just different times.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, these guys are hammering it, and the hammers are out there, and they're really putting a dent into it. So it's a timing thing because you got the tidal influence. But again, I use it as an advantage because I fished it like a lake. So I had to learn all the little nooks and crannies and where the fish would move, and I learned that on myself. And I didn't have to read up on that, but like I say,
But at the time, you can't. you read books because you didn't have the fucking.
I
internet.
read whatever I could read. I mean, and absorbed as much as I can. But it's like, hey, you go there and fish.
But
the
it's
conditions.
even like, dude, what about the bullshit? There's no way people wrote in the magazines what really fucking is going on.
Well, the basics for the most part, you're going to get descriptions and baits descriptions and stuff. But like I said, when I went to Delta Bait and Tackle, I could see what they have there and kind of get an idea. And then after fishing a little bit with some people and just figuring it out. And the red craw was the deal, was the money deal, was the bomber.
Dude, you see the crank you're using is a red craw, like.
Hey, and the stuff still works. Red is just a good color. But they harvest. They used to commercial fish. I don't know if they still do. They commercial fished. They're like lobsters. There's like 2 or 3 different types of crawdads at Clear Lake, and they're like freaking lobsters.
Yeah.
And they literally used to ship them out overseas, and there was a market for them. But
Lobster rolls, dude.
big. They were big.
And they're delicious.
I don't know. I never tried them, but
I'm sure.
if you were to see some of the water over there in sloughs, you thought you were freaking. Hey, where these people live in these dead end sloughs, it was like a scene out of Deliverance.
Hey, it's like going
And
to
no-
Silverwood.
and, hey,
Remember
when
Silverwood
you
when
hear
you
the-
find all those diapers on the fucking shore?
Oh, tamales too. Oh man, see a floating tamale or a long string. Like, what is that? Ain't a rat tail, you know? And then, hey, if you go on the back of the slough and you start hearing banjos, you turn the fuck around. Okay.
So here. I don't think I told this story yet. I think I might have. When I left Clear Lake, I went with my wife. You met you know Roxanne. So we left.
What's going on over there?
She's yeah. We're getting heavy on the drinks.
Easy.
So we left and we stopped. I'm like, we're starving. We left Paul Bailey's, and it was Paul, Aaron, and Johnny Z. So we left, and I'm like, we're fucking starving, and we stop. And we pull at some pizza place. And I'm like, cool. So we pull up and I fucking see the bar next to the pizza place. I'm like, all white dudes with bald head are fucking like long hair. And I'm like, yeah, this ain't going to go well. She goes, why? And I'm like, they're going to see a fucking fat Mexican dude with some fucking blonde lady with blue eyes. They're going to be like, what the fuck's going on here, man?
Shit.
And I'm like, yeah, not happening, dude. We're fucking going to keep driving, dude. But
Welcome to the South.
hey, but the cool thing is like the people, they're super fucking cool as well. Like it's still that like it's country some in some spots. Not like here, it's not as country. Like everyone's pretty filled up, you know, and it's
You have some breathing room.
yeah, there you do.
Oh yeah, plenty of places to bury people too.
Let's scroll through the video and see what else we have.
That'll be interesting. Yeah. This is a time capsule, guys. This is
There might be more fishing. Oh, here we go.
keep going. I thought there was there might be the last day. I think I might have the last day in there possibly. Like I say, this video we'll find out shortly here. That freaking trophy was like 4 feet tall.
No, that's not you.
I got the small trophy though for big fish. That's in there. The little trophy sitting next to the big trophy. That's sitting at my house. Wait. No, it wasn't. No. John Bidwell, he went and fished Bassmasters. He was a national pro too. That was Tim Perales. There you go. Yeah, this is the final day. This is the final day of the top.
I fucked it up, hold on.
Yeah, final day.
Computer.
Final day, and they took the top 10.
At least you're in all fucking red.
Well, you know, that was the Berkeley Troutling thing I was trying to keep up with too. That I loved Berkeley Troutling. I ended up with a Berkeley Troutling sponsorship.
And I called 3 limits today. Called 3 limits today.
Damn.
What is that, largemouth?
Look at this guy.
Yeah, we got local media, TV.
That was kind of cool. It looks like pretty like
Oh yeah, we got. Oh, there was a big turn.
you look famous as shit there.
The last day. Last day, and all the media.
You got big fish on this one?
Yeah, all the media show up. You're gonna see.
Got 3 fish.
We'll go into the second live well here. You'll see.
Going in the bag. Up to the live well.
You had 2 big ones in the second live well.
Check it out.
Uh-oh, here it comes. Look at the suspense you put on, man. You're good, man.
Oh, I separated my fish.
Oh, shit. Look at him. Again. That's a nice one, dude.
There it is.
Another 2.5, 3-pound fish. What it makes when this tournament, some real big.
Yeah, that was a 4.50.
What are you saying here?
Does anybody have any alcohol?
The best part of the fucking video.
You know what? Look,
Let's do it one time here. Check it over.
Kelly.
cameras everywhere.
Fuck, dude.
That big fish so far, 4.50. Takes over big fish. Was 4.29. Got big fish. Let's see what he's got with his other 4 fish. Totaled up with that 4.5 pound fish. He's got to take over 1163.
Damn, you're close, dude. Dude, not bad. That was a good tournament for you, huh?
Comes right down to hundredths of an ounce.
That was really good for you, huh?
Hundredths of an ounce. Wait, hold on. It's not over yet.
I know you thought you had it.
We still got 2 good limits coming in. It's going to be really close. We may have 12 pounds. It's going to be within probably half a pound for first place.
And that was true. I called it.
Puppo, outstanding job. Kelly, we'll see you at the award ceremony tonight.
Okay,
Fuck yeah.
stop the video.
Quinn Johansson.
Okay, so I'm going to backpedal on that. So what happened here before I got up to the second boat up on top, up on top on the street level, down below Tommy, he came. I mean, they're trying to build up, and they still do this to this day, and they want to build up the momentum on the top guys on the last day and bring them in at the end.
Yeah.
And bring it up, and it just goes crazy. Well, they were doing this. I didn't know nothing about this, but I'm coming in. I got a decent limit. I had no idea where I was going to be. Right. So I'm in there, and I had no idea how many people were waiting for me. I mean, everybody was waiting for me, like I was going to come in and win it. Little did I know, I didn't have any idea I was even going to have a shot. So Tommy, he having a little bit of that cough syrup, bro.
Fuck, dude. That is so fucking strong
All
there.
right, all right. So then, it'll clear your throat, bro.
I could tell.
Anyway, just don't be firing one up right now.
No, not at all.
Okay, so what happened is, I'm down there, and Kim Manning, who ended up winning it, he's like comes over. He was nervous, and he comes over. Tommy, the weighmaster, he is just like on top of it. He can tell you if the fish has a shad, if there's a shad inside their stomach, that's how much he's on top of. He'll call a fish within 2 ounces.
Damn.
They come over to me, and he comes over to me in a boat, and he goes, "You got him?" I go, "Yeah, I got him good." He comes and he jump. I mean, he's an old guy. He jumps in the boat, and he's literally just going through my fish. And I mean, he's just groping them all, looking at them, checking them all out, And he goes, "Well, what did you think you had?" I go, maybe 12 pounds or more, or a little over 12. And he goes, "No, I don't think so." I was going through, and I go, he goes, he called it. So,
Dude, that's fucking crazy.
so the way they weighed me in is almost kind of how it played out.
Oh, so he jumped on the boat to kind of
To literally put me
tell
in line,
everyone,
to
like,
put me
hey,
in, to
maybe.
put me in line, how to build up the momentum for the actual finish. And I was one of the last guys to come in, and it was. I had no idea what was happening. I had no idea.
That's
but
cool as shit, though.
It's all in. It's It's history, and it's just stuff that's happening in front of you, and you just take it in and roll with it, right?
So this is 91.
91. That was November 91.
Okay. So then you take what in that tournament? What did you take in that tournament?
I ended up on that tournament with in 4th place, big fish, got a nice trophy, couple nice trophies out of it, and full on Berkeley Trilene sponsorship.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I was set. And that Berkeley Trilene sponsorship was only supposed to be a year, and it ended up to be like 10 years.
So you were good for marketing for them, like you had.
They were putting me. They was printing. I was put on paper and in write ups and stuff I didn't even know about that. They just documented, and if I did good in the tournament, and I said I caught it on this and whatever, and I was using Berkeley product.
Yeah,
I got power baits right now. You wouldn't believe. I got a
look who's calling me. Should we put him on the podcast?
I didn't see it.
Joe.
Oh.
I'll put him on speaker. Hey, Joe. We're doing a podcast, me and Kelly, right now. You're live on the podcast.
Kelly, one second.
I'll give you a call when we're done, asshole.
I know more than you'll ever forget.
Questions for me?
The what?
You don't have any questions for me?
No, he said, why are you so good at calico bass fishing?
I learned from, yeah.
God, no. Nick ate a dick last night, and Joe held us going on all the fish. So
Yeah, but you weighed a spotty.
yeah, it don't matter. You weighed all 3 of them. So, all right, buddy. I'll give you a call when we're done.
Okay.
Later. So back to what we were talking about.
Just sidetracked me again.
So that tournament you said you didn't know.
So I ended up
I
ended up with the Berkeley Trilene sponsorship. I had more
10 years you said.
Dude, I have more Berkeley Trilene plastic than you can imagine. And then you know what they were sending me to? They sent me 100 bags of blems. I would just come home and there'd be a box, and there'd be 100 of this, 100 of that, of just blems.
So Berkeley Trilene,
blems.
But Berkeley Trilene was like you got the Berkeley baits as well as the Trilene.
All the power bait I wanted. I mean, all the baits that they were making, and the stuff back then. That formula was a good formula, and on top of it, I had all the Trilene line I wanted. Bulk spools, 3,000 yard bulk spools, whatever I wanted. They never said no to me. I just, when I needed, I got it, and I had more line than I could ever use. I had more power baits than I ever could use.
Fuck, dude.
And then I started, I was fishing the Phoenix rods. I had California custom worms as well. I kept trying to think who else. But
so this is the question. You had all those rods. What'd you do with them?
people wanted them. I ended up selling them as the time progressed. I made some changes on changing models.
And I always think about that with pros. Like, I know they probably got a ton of shit. It's like, what do you do with all that shit at the end,
Well, you got to realize, too, when, nothing lasts forever, too.
Yeah.
And then you start changing things and doing certain things, too. But I used Phoenix for a very, very long time. I still fish Phoenix. And I love them. In fact, that inshore rod, I love that inshore.
100%.
I love the inshore series as well. And Phoenix makes a pretty good product. So I'm going to be fishing some newer versions. I have several older ones that I wanted to upgrade on, but we'll see what happens. I'm afraid I'm going to blow up. I got a couple of big bait specials. I'm afraid I'm going to blow them up. They seem like they're probably 20 something years old, and I really feel that they're going to blow up on me one day. It's going to cost me a fish, but I love them. That M1 series, I really like the M1 series. The 2 years ago, the M1 series, but they don't make that version anymore. I love that blank. I love it. I have one, but beyond that, I like the Phoenix. I like the feel of it. But like I say, a lot of my conventional rods, too, the basic stuff are Performance Tackle custom rods. And then I've even customized and made some of my own that are just like one-offs that are just like badass that have evolved into some go-to all-around versions of just a good all-around rod. Versatility.
Yeah.
and that's the key, you know. And I don't like a lot of specialty rods because it limits you, and then you got to have that specialty rod. You know, it's got to be this, it's got to be that. I like a multi-purpose rod.
That way you don't have to have like 85 rods in the
Well,
deck.
hey, I still got 25 rods in the boat, but I can. It's like, but you know, it's. But when you're power fishing and when you're fishing junk fishing, you got 8 or 9, 10 rods out. I gotta have that. I have to have that.
Yeah.
You know, and then like I say, then you got then you got the big bait stuff put away, and I mean, you're just pulling. Hey, you're pulling stuff up, pulling it out, putting it away, pulling it out, whatever. And you utilize them. That's the thing, you utilize them. But I don't mind it. I love it. You know, the versatility. Like they asked me on the questionnaire when I just noticed too. I saw it in one of the write-ups here, and they asked me what was my favorite lake. I said Cast Lake, and they said favorite method. I said everything. Well, and I just said that, and I said, you know what? Everything. I'll fish everything. I'll do everything. I can't. There's no limitations. You know, and I don't try to. I never try to departmentalize myself. Just even in the industry, I learned everything, and I try to do it as good as I can. And that's the way I've been through my whole life. You know, I learn everything. I don't want to just be. This is what I do. I jump through this hoop, and that's all I'm going to. I jump through the hoop.
Yeah.
Hey, but can I climb the mountain? I've never done that before. Come on, guys.
I agree 100%.
Outside of the box, bro.
So outside of the box, guy, when you finish this tournament, what was the next thing you got over there?
Okay, so we're gonna fast. Okay, so we're leaving the TL. We're leaving the West Coast.
So we're
Classic.
91. You're done with the 91 basket.
We're leaving the Classic, the 91 Classic now. Okay, so now we're going into 92. 92 was a good year, and I believe we started off at 92. We started off at that was at Clear Lake, and
You can flip that picture around too if you want and show them like on the camera. So that one you just pulled out right now, flip it around. You can kind of show them and hold it up and.
Well, it's just not really
straight ahead. This one. There you go. Yeah,
that
you can see it good.
That was the 92. That was the 92 Clear Lake.
Do you got a picture of that one too as well in the book?
Yeah, I'm going to show you a bigger version of that.
Is that the one you showed me? That you gave me that one, right? No.
No.
Oh, right there. Here it is.
Here,
give it to
here
me.
it is. Here. I led the tournament by 1.5 pounds. I lost the tournament by 1.5 pounds.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
So here's from 92, second place.
Yeah.
Let's talk about. So this was the second time.
I took second place on this one. Like I say, I had on the second day. The first day I had a 9. I had a 9 and change, and the second day I went. I had like 2.5 hours. Well, let me back up. The second day I went back to my spot, my area, and there was 3 boats in there just smoking. They each had the 20-pound bag. It just blew me. The fish moved in. They transitioned. They were already starting to come in.
Yeah.
I was already intercepting those fish before they hit the bank. I was in between and hitting those fish and getting them before they actually literally hit the bank. And I had a good bite going. Overnight, they hit the bank. And then that second day, those guys they knew where I was fishing. They saw where I was fishing, but they went in and they started fishing tight and they started catching the shit out of them. And I literally just, I left. I left. And
what else can you do?
I literally left. And I'm like, and there was 2 boats in the area and there was another boat on each side of me. And I'm like, there's 4 boats here. I'm the 5th boat. I'm like, it's too much pressure. So I left and I went and beat the bank and I ended up catching a 3-pounder. But my deal is the temperature. I wanted the temperature to get up 3 degrees and that little breeze coming in, and it really kicked off the rip bite. And that's what I was on a rip bite. And the Rapala number 9, Shad Rap 9.
And if you guys want to know what he's talking about, look at the Patreon because he did a whole video on it.
The Patreon will show you the bait. And actually, that was the bait.
Yep. Was it really?
That was the bait. Yes.
Nice.
That was the bait. And I'll tell you what. That was That was memorable. Okay. And again, that's kicked off my. So we went from the 91 Classic going in the Clear Lake, taking a second place.
That's amazing.
I just came off of fourth place.
That's really fucking good.
I just came off of fourth place Classic and went right into
a second
place and leading by a pound and a half, losing by a pound and a half. And again, bridesmaid second place, nobody remembers you. So that's the way it goes. But unfortunately, I had like 2.5 hours to catch my call out my fifth fish, and my fifth fish was a pound and a half. Fuck. And I lost by a pound and a half. And I didn't catch a pound and a half all week. I was catching 2.5 to 3 pound minimum, and I couldn't do that. And that's
what happened that day?
I left and I came back going
those
back.
Boats
I waited.
Out? Yeah, okay.
I waited for the water temp to come up, and I only had a 3 pounder. I think I fished like 5 hours.
Fuck.
With a 3 pounder, and that's all I had. And I worked my way back to there, and I went back there was nobody there. Water temp came up 3. The wind started coming up and just brought out the shad wrap and just started slinging that thing. And I ended up on the second day, I had a 6.
Shit, that's good.
I had a 6 from my kicker on the second day. I had a shot. I really had a shot of really doing pretty good. And back then, Clear Lake kicked out some pretty big weights back then. They've gone through their transitions too.
Oh, you got weights too? You got weights on those?
So I ended up on. I'll tell you. I'll break it down to you right now. I ended up with. It says here. It says 37.17. That's 2 days. Okay, and those were all pre-spawn fish. 37.17. So, and my breakdown here is I had $577 for a 927. So I ended up with second big fish overall for the tournament. Big fish of the tournament was a 983. I had a 927. Yeah. So in going back there, I'm looking here and I go, you got D. Thomas there too.
Damn.
John Murray, Bedwell, Lee Renault Pelletier from Washington. He fished Bassmasters. Mark Risk was there too. Cato, Keith Clout. These guys were all heavy hitters back then. I can't go through all of them, but you had Don Payne, Glebe. Really, really, really good sticks.
All West Coast, like
these are West. I say what on the West Coast. I'm going to say we're fishing. Typically, I've been fishing against 4 to 5 states minimum on these pro-ams. 4 to 5 states. So we're looking California, Arizona, Nevada, Oregon, Washington. That's 5 states.
Yeah.
That's what I fished against predominantly the whole time. 5 states of the best. Some heavy hitters. So that's what that was all about. So now I got the momentum going into 92. Things are going good. I didn't even have a tow vehicle. I had to borrow a tow vehicle to go up there.
Yeah.
So
you good?
So anyway, so now we're in 92, and the momentum of 92 is rolling along, and now we're at Castaic.
So they come back.
We're at Castaic now, first pro-am at Castaic. Okay.
How many boats?
Now here's the deal, and this is the thing. I'll tell you what, it's sad, but Castaic intimidated people because of the size. So now we're back at Castaic for a pro-am. This is my second chance, second shot.
Because it was so small?
Because it's small, but it was kicking out monsters. And a lot of those northern boys and guys from out of state did not want to deal with it. Some of the best fishermen, I'm not mentioning names, but they didn't want to come down. And they didn't come down. And our first pro-am, second chance of winning a boat locally here at Castaic, and we only got a field of
35.
We got a field of 51 boats.
Okay.
Which typically we were pulling average 75, 80 boats minimum on a tournament.
So no one wanted to come down.
So 20 to 25 guys minimum. 25 guys minimum.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe 30 guys didn't even come down.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the kick in the ass here. So now Okay, I take ninth place. Here's a ninth place finish. Didn't even get a check. I'm one spot out of the money with 33 pounds.
You had 33 pounds?
33 pounds, that's 2 days. That's 2 days. I had a tough first day. That's a whole nother story. In fact, I might have it here. I know I have it here.
Put that together so I know to here, give it to me. I'll put it back in the thing.
There was 2 pictures, wasn't there? No? Only one? Okay, so now
I gotta scan that thing.
I was in sync here. Maybe I don't have it here. No. Okay, so this particular tournament, here's what happened. I'll tell you, I'll give you a breakdown. I was on a spinnerbait bite. It was epic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the names. I recall, and I remember all this. Okay, what happened to me and why I fell short is I had some epic pre-fishing in the tournament. I mean, pre-tournament, and I mean, I'm talking 25, 30 pound days. I was broken off by. I'm fishing 15-pound Berkeley big game and getting broke off. But these fish were so powerful, they were breaking me off on the rock. I'd hook them, you know, and they just dog me and take me in, and it was like calico fishing. I'm serious. These were like 9, 10, 12-pound fish, and just railed me. Okay, so now fast forward. It rained. It rained on me, and out of Elizabeth Canyon. And the rain came in and just muddied everything up. But little did I know, it was only the first foot of water. I left Elizabeth Canyon. I left the areas adjacent in that general area.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a game plan, an area, and literally I ran up there. It was coffee, and the lake came up probably 2 feet.
How did you know it was only a foot of water?
Because I went back up there later, after the fact, and I hit my trolling motor and. I put my trolling motor down.
Oh, you saw it just open up the
and
mud.
I just seen it just kick it out, and I'm like, oh no. So I left looking for, and I started pre-fishing now. Now I'm pre-fishing after I already had it all dialed in. This is the first day on Pro-Am, right?
Yeah.
So I go and find my water, and there's another guy fishing fishing. And I told him what's going on, and I go, dude, go find your own water. You know. So anyways, now I go and get my own water. I'm doing my thing. And I'm not going to mention names, but people were watching me and seeing what I was doing. They were like dropping to their freaking locker and pulling out the baits I'm throwing and trying. But it was crazy because in practice, I had them coming out. In some areas, they were literally coming out and T-boning my baits. And just, I wasn't even setting the hook. I go, this is just so stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid fishing, right? I'm like, oh, okay. So I ended up wanting to get back. I wanted to go fish the Slalom Cove. I had no idea what was going on there. It was a shit show. There was probably 15 boats in Slalom Cove. I'm like, damn, I knew where I wanted to go. Do you know that these guys literally came in and closed the gates on me and blocked me? Took their boats and freaking put a barrier of boats to block me.
Why would they do that?
Because they don't want me to go in. They didn't want me to go where I wanted to go.
So dudes
I'm like,
teamed up and said, fuck this guy.
Well, they see me coming. And literally... I'm not going to mention any names, but all I'm saying, I'm like, hey, I'm not going to be around you. Can I get back where I need to go? Hey, man, you're a vacuum cleaner. You know, I'm like, come on, man. literally, I had to ask for permission to get, I'm like, and there was only one boat where in the general area, and I'm like, there was a lot of open area. I'm like, I just need to get back where I need to go. That's it. And they're all fishing 6-pound, 8-pound line. And they're all split shot in the freaking Reaper. But they were catching fish up to 12 pounds.
On a
freaking Reaper. But they were catching mega weight. They were catching 15, 20-pound bags.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, I know I can do bigger than that, right? So I get back in there. Finally, I stick a fish, and I come out. I'm like, okay. And then when I went in there, guys were like, well, he ain't doing anything. So they saw me not doing much. I caught one fish, and they left.
How big was that fish?
Probably 3.5, 4 pounds.
Nothing
So anyways, nothing
to be happy.
But still, I mean, hey, it's like probably 1 o'clock, and I only have like probably 1 or 2 fish in the boat, in the live well. So now I got 2 fish. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, so guys are looking at me, and some guys left. And then I pull out, and I'm working my way out. And I'm going to tell you what, the guys that stayed and saw what I was doing, and I stick a 6. I stick like another 4 and a 6. Literally, guys hit the deck, and they start pulling out the spinnerbait. Literally. David Kaitan, I believe in fact, it's right here. He knew the bait. He was my camera guy in the 91 Classic.
Okay.
It says it right here. David Kaitan's total of 41.67 earned him 3rd place in the pro ranks. Dave gave some credit to another real high tough competitor, Kelly Puppo, who he watched catch a number of fish on a pattern that not many fishermen was on. Dave picked up a spinnerbait after watching Kelly only a few casts later. Dave's spinnerbait produced the second big fish of the event, 12.90.
Dave caught a 12?
That's a 13-pound fish.
Fuck, dude. That's a big fucking fish.
He literally pulled his pants down as soon as he saw me. I'm like, I look, and I looked, and everybody's throwing their reapers down, their little split shot rods, and pulling out the meat and potatoes, and I'm like, oh no. I'm thinking, oh boy, now.
Were you ever throwing big swim baits then?
This wasn't there. Okay.
There wasn't really a big swim bait.
This is the only the big baits back then for me. I was throwing Renoskis and I was throwing the Bomber A's, fishing stripers, but I didn't transition that into the largemouth. And to be honest with you, nobody was really in 92. They weren't targeting
not like that.
They weren't targeting them with the big bait yet. This is all pre.
Yeah.
And the thing is, this was all conventional. And believe me, they caught teeners on freaking little 2.5-inch, 3-inch reapers. Dude. I'm talking teeners, 13, 14s. They were common back in the day. They're fishing, it's like the crawdad. Same deal, but they're throwing a little reaper. And these guys are smoking them, catching huge fish on 6-pound line. I was like, anyways, okay. Fuck. So I pull a 9th place, no check. I'm like, okay, I really got hammered on this one. And here it is. Here's a picture right here. Here's my 9th place finish. And I had a 6 and change and a 4 and change. Yeah, it's kind of sad. You fish a pro-am, I mean, you fish a tournament of that caliber and take a top 10 and you can't even pull a freaking check.
Right.
I couldn't even get a freaking cheeseburger.
So this is a 92?
We're still on 92.
Okay.
This is coming right off a Clear Lake.
That was the 2nd place. Okay.
Yeah, I'm coming right off a Clear Lake.
Yeah.
So the momentum's going.
And you're like, fucking my home lake, and I'm fucking.
And I'm
eating a dick at home.
I'm on my home lake, and I literally blew it.
Yeah.
It was just me. Little did I know that, in fact, John Murray went back into the area. He was doing terrible. He went back into the area that I left and banged out a 20-pound bag.
Oh my God,
in the last hour.
Dude.
In the last hour of the tournament, I'm like,
do you know what he was fishing?
I know exactly what he was doing. He wasn't throwing a spinnerbait, but
what did he catch it on?
What he was doing?
Yeah,
he was flipping.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I could still catch those flip fish either way. When the fish are up and they hit the bank like that, and the water's murky and things are certain scenarios, and when you're in the right zone in the right place, dude, those fish are up there for one reason. They're gonna eat and then they're gonna freaking make love. Okay, and that's what they're gonna do. These fish were just coming up and hitting the bank, and those fish, especially having that chocolate water on top, dude, they can't see you. Everything's different.
You're way more.
And those fish are
stealth.
more aggressive, and you get in that last 4 or 5 feet of water, those fish will chew. Okay. So you got the picture.
I have the one from the 9 from Clear Lake. What is that one?
That was the 91 Classic. There were some pictures in there too.
Okay, cool.
But we already saw most. We already saw most of that. Okay, so now I'm going to fast. Okay, you know what I'll do? Let's see what we got in here. Let me take a peek here and see what's here. So after 2 tournaments, right now I'm in the top. After 2 tournaments, I'm in first place in the tournament in the points. point standing here, dude. I haven't looked at this stuff. I'm just trying to recollect here. So right now, and then after going in, okay, then we went to Folsom. We fished Folsom.
Is that a lake you like as well?
Oh, I love Folsom. Yeah, I love Folsom. Yeah, so Folsom. Yeah, I had a couple of shots at Folsom too. I took some top finishes over there. But yeah, so now I went after the third tournament. I'm in 6th place in the point standings. I took a pretty good finish over there. And Folsom, I don't have any. Wait, let's see what we got here. No, I don't. I don't have a picture of Folsom, but I took a pretty good finish over there. And then we're going to go into, what is this? Shasta. Okay. Then we went into Shasta. I tied for 20th place at Shasta.
Now this is what changes. 20th.
Yeah. That changes.
Was it a hard lake or what?
No, Shasta, you're talking numbers. You're talking hundreds of an ounce here, an ounce there every day. Makes a big difference. We're all catching pound and a half to pound and 3/4 fish.
Shasta's not a big.
You're calling and just you're having to beam these fish with a beam, and it's just crazy. You can't eyeball. You got to beam them, and that's the whole thing. And this is before digital scales and all that. We beamed them, you know. So you beamed them up, and then that you just did what you did, and you're just trying to gain weight. And you're only one bite every day from being in the money. And I'm telling you, what separates you. What separates you is unbelievable. From here's where it is right here. So
you got 20th.
Okay,
what was your
so here's
weight?
from 10th place. 10th place was 1421. I'm in 20th place with 1302.
That's not far at all.
So a pound will take
you in
10 spots.
That's crazy.
Okay, and then so then you're at the winning weight was 20.52. That's
So
a
that's a
2
big-
pound
that's a-
2 pound average.
That's pretty good.
2 pound average, and then it drops to 18, then it drops to 16, and then it drops to like 15. So yeah.
So when you got
you're not out, when you're catching 7.5, 8 pounds a day, you're not out of it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it still fishes that way from time to time.
When's the last time you've been back up there at all?
Been many years.
Yeah.
Been many, many, many years. And in this tournament, Shasta, there was a 7, there was a 6, a 5, and a 4. Those were the big fish. So those are the ones that'll put you in the money. If you can catch a limit and do that, you're going to be in there, let alone you maybe win a boat. Okay, so now we're going into Orville. Orville, I took 14th. So now I went up a little bit. I took 14th at Orville. Yeah. I took 14th in Orville and missed a check by less than a pound.
Fuck.
Yeah. So now we're going into point standings. Where did I end up? I'm in 2nd place. After 4.
That's from the second and the second and 9th. 20th and the 14th.
Five tournaments. And I'm in 2nd place in point standings. This is 92. So the momentum is just like, wow. I never even thought about Angler of the Year. So you're looking at this right now, and now here we are going into the Classic. Okay, so in the Classic, I ended up.
This is the 92 Classic.
92 Classic. I ended up in point standings, 9th place. Going in.
That's great.
Going in. And it says it got me here as West Coast Bass Qualifier, 91, 92, 93. Favorite lake cast stake, favorite method of fishing, everything. I mean, and back then I had
He does it all.
I had Berkeley Trilene, Power Baits, Nichols Lures, California Worms, and Phoenix Rods. So, I was good.
Yeah.
I was good.
Yeah.
So we ended up fishing the 92 Classic. In fact,
I think
did we have some video? We had some video of the 92 or the 93?
I think it's a 93.
It's the 90. So we don't have 92. Okay, so here's what I'll do. I'll give you 92. I got 92 pictures, and I'll show you right here.
Yeah, show some 92 pictures.
90,
and we'll hit 93
here they are.
next.
Here's a 92 Classic right here.
So kind of turn them at the camera.
I have them in. I actually put them in order in a series. So
this is at what lake? Delta again?
This is Delta. West Coast Bass Class of Delta, 92. So here we are pulling in for weigh-in, and I'm flying the red. Berkeley Trilene.
Pure blood.
Back on stage, waiting for the weights, you know, another high point, you know, making it out there again.
It's a nice one. Some cool shit, man.
In fact, yeah, there was a picture in here. I was, if I pull it, I might. Here it is right here.
What, let me see.
That's Dave Glebe. Dave Glebe right there. Guys won more boats, won a Cadillac. Unbelievable. You want one?
Is he? So Dave
So I
is
thought-
a
remember the Florida Bassmaster?
Oh, so yeah, say that story real quick.
I believe it was a Florida Invitational Bassmaster. So me and Kim Manning, we got a room over there at the Skylark, and it's the night of the draw. You know, so we before the tournament to get our flight and our partner and this, and we're all showered up, cleaned up, ready to go to the meeting. And the door knocks, and Dave Glebe is at the door. We've already been there for a couple of days. We got nothing but dirty towels, wet floor, and Dave shows up. Hey, can I use your shower, man? He goes, I just came back from back east. Yeah, man, go ahead. All we had was a washcloth left for him to dry himself with. He was happy. He was happy. He drove in from winning the tournament with a freaking Bassmaster freaking trophy sitting in his freaking seat. Dude. Photo finish. Here's a guy fishing a national event back then and photo finishing. I mean, how close can you play it? Damn, and makes it to the freaking draw. The guy was
good.
He's working. Last week we were hurt. He's working for Pro Bass in by the Delta. There, there's a Pro Bass shop over there. He's working over there. And the sad part about these kids, people walking in, don't even know who he is and give him any respect. This guy's he's won more boats and won a Cadillac. He's done so much, you know.
Well, that's kind of why I wanted to have you on. Is all this is such great history. I mean, we got D. I mean, there's another one. D. D's the one that started it. I always hear him.
With the flipping technique and dominating. He went back east too, but he was a manager at Safeway, I believe, the produce department. Yeah, he had commitment, so he couldn't do it. But Glebe took the knowledge and went back there and smoked them. I got stories of Glebe rolling and just some crazy stuff. I mean, I've roomed with Glebe, and he's in a whole nother. I'm telling you, he is in his zone.
I get those ones too. I'll scan.
He's in his zone, and I'll tell you what, these guys, and it's like he's not one for groups and hanging out with people. He's in his own world, but he takes mental note, and he's inventorying you and stuff, and it's amazing how it's kind of funny after the fact how I these guys really pay attention to stuff, the detail in me, and I mean here I am on Folsom. After getting pushed off my first day spot, that I was flipping fish right out of the river. Nobody was doing. I was on a pattern doing shit. I went back there the second day, and these two brothers, one of the brothers were in there. I couldn't fish it, so I went on and fished outside the river, and I'm catching fish, but not my flip fish. My flip fish were all 2.5 pound plus, and for Folsom, that's good fish.
That's what you're looking for.
For Folsom, that's good fish, right? So now I'm on the outside fish, catching 1.5 to 2.5 pound fish, opposed to 2.5 pound up. So anyways, I'm out there, and Glebe I'm fishing out deep, 20 to 30, and Glebe comes by me just pitching down the bank like I'm not even there. He actually doesn't see me. And I'm like, you don't even wave to me or nothing. So he comes back around. He's going down the bank. He comes back around, and he idles right by me. He goes, hey, try these out. And he throws me a handful of hand-pour baits,
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
No way.
He just throws them at, hey, man, try these out, right? And I'm like, dude, it's just like the eyes behind his head, But he saw what I was doing, and he knew I was in contention to win. And that was nice of him to do that. But I've roomed with him, and he won't say hardly anything, but he takes notice. He takes notice and really pays attention to the fine details.
That must be crazy rooming with dudes, and you're like,
they won't talk.
What you guys won't talk fishing.
They won't even, dude. They don't even. Dude, you could be laying there dying, gasping for air, and they won't even give you breath. I mean, I'm blowing that up, but seriously, we don't talk about fishing, talk about nothing. Back then we're watching MTV or watching a video or something and listening to music and stuff. And I'm like, man,
Were you drinking on those things or not really?
there was some. I won't get into. We've had some good times. I'll put it there. There's sometimes we had some good times and ended up going some places too, and turned out to be some late nights. But dude, I was married. I flew straight. But I'm telling you, there was opportunities. But I was committed, and I flew straight. But some of these other guys and some of the stuff I seen, I'm like, wow, it's like Club Med vacation, like. And then you're fishing a tournament hungover. It's like, how do these guys do this shit? I gotta drive.
It happens, bro.
I gotta drive home. I gotta drive home. I gotta drive home and drive all night and go to work. I mean, I've literally drove home and got 2 hours sleep, and I'm on some facility working a show. And hey, you're in charge. I'm like, I came in one time and it was a boat show. It was the last day of the boat show, LA Convention Center. Hey, you're running the floor. I'm like, what? I'm just like fried.
You're like, just give me a break. Just give me a break.
LA
dude.
Convention Center, South Hall,
Yeah.
the big hall. You're running the floor. I'm like, oh no. And then you just go with the pace. You do what you got to do, and you're praying. Come on, 4:30.
Yeah.
But anyways, fun times. I got some travel stories too, but yeah, you got to be careful with your travel partners and them driving, and you take a break to go get food. Eat and go to sleep or whatever, not paying attention, and they get on the launch. They get on the ramp, and they start heading. Instead of going south, they head north, and we're driving 2 hours, hour and a half north.
Dude, no way.
Back to where we just came from.
Shit.
And then you're sitting there, and I'm waiting for the grapevine. I go, "Where's the grapevine?" I'm looking out for the lights on the right on the
You're
west
in San
side.
Diego and shit, huh?
No, we're heading north. We're heading back up to Northern California. We should be heading south, and we should be hitting the freaking grapevine, right?
Oh, fuck.
Nothing. I'm like, oh, that was.
It's like Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, I don't put people around me like that no more. There's some crazy shit though. I mean, and I got to go to work the next morning.
Yeah.
In fact, I think that was when I had to go to work the boat show. Dude, no sleep. Oh.
Because you had to turn around, you had to tell the dude, "What the fuck are we doing? You're in Visalia, you're in Visalia, and you got to fucking be in LA."
Dude, you want to fucking put a bullet in their head and fucking go dig a hole for them. You're out in freaking once you get out in the Central Valley.
Central, yeah.
Back then there was not a lot going on, but I think, man, there's a lot of desert out here. I could put them. Okay, so now we're okay. Oh, that went quick. Okay, so now we're going into
You're 93.
93. We went and started in February in 93 at the Delta. Oh, I remember this.
Is this tournament we're going to look at or no?
No.
Okay.
I remember this. This is just the Pro-Am.
Okay.
I remember this one here. We're building up to the 93 Classic. So this is the first tournament of the year, February 20th, 21. And this, again, what I'm going to say here is that this tournament and during this time frame on the Delta in the late 80s, early 90s, this is before the Floridas took hold.
What do you mean?
Florida bass. And we're fishing predominantly before, in the early days, was Northern Strain, and they put the Floridas in because they started down in San Diego and they worked their way through Central and Northern California. So it took years for the Floridas to grasp. So again, going back to those, 10, 12-pound bags were golden back in the day for the Northern.
Yeah, that's what I like hearing from you say. It's a little different.
And then, because people don't realize unless you were fishing back then to know the transitioning and the blossom of the gene pool of the Florida strain, what they did for the West Coast. And we don't have that gene pool anymore. That gene pool's gone. And there was a couple phases of that gene pool, first, second phase of the gene pool that were just epic. And we don't have it. It's gone. Because those fish have all inbred or bred, crossbred, and it's like the drink is getting diluted.
Oh, I can see that right now.
And just like the strain is getting diluted. And that crazy strain is that crazy strain is gone.
But the Floridas, how big do they get though?
Based on the fishery.
Really?
Based on the forage and the fishery.
Trout.
Well, trout's always a bonus, but on the Delta, they got so much. Dude, there was even at one time 20-pound class fish at the Delta.
Did you ever hear someone pulling out a 20?
20.
Did you ever hear someone pull out a 20?
Rumor has it there was 19, there was a 18, there was a 20. I don't get confirmation on the 20, but there was several in the 6.
I heard the 18 from a guy at the Delta.
Several in the 16 to 18 pound class. There were several.
I had a guy, Joey, I think it's Joey Price. He's a guide up there. And he said he did like biologist stuff on the water as well. So he knew a lot about the fish. And he goes, yeah, I think I remember hearing 18 up there.
See, but you have to realize too, back in the days, in the earlier days too, that we had more rainfall, more runoff. And back in the day, the Delta was flooding over to the point the levees were breaking. No boating for like a month or two. And it was crazy. And the Delta was being flushed from the Sacramento River, all tributaries just running in the Delta and flushing it out and cleaning it and bringing a lot of good nutrients and stuff. True. It was really, really good. And it kept all the seals. It kept the whales.
Which is a whole other thing.
Seals, whales.
How was it dealing with seals back then?
Seals, whales, and all that stuff, they were not even anywhere around. We're going to transition into that now. and it's crazy because back when we were launching fishing the Classic out of Sacramento, Old Town Sacramento, we had to travel the Sacramento River and navigate around salmon fishermen anchored in the middle of the river first thing in the morning or with fog. You have no idea. It was like they were like bowling pins out there. We were going to hit them. They didn't, and these guys were out there, no lights on, and you got 20 to 40 guys
bass
coming
boats
down the freaking all at once. It was insane. I ran amber. I had amber ski goggles. Amber, best thing I ever did was amber, because amber you can see in low light conditions. I was running the freaking Delta in a brand new freaking Ranger that wasn't mine.
Damn.
Hey, and these guys were there's guys idling. I said, fuck that. I knew the river system pretty good, and I knew there were certain marinas, 5 mile marinas you have to go through. And dude, I literally kept myself within 25 to 30 feet off the freaking levee and ran like 30 to 40 miles an hour on plane and just running. And I told my partner, keep an eye out. I go, just punch me in the shoulder. I made it clear to him, punch me in the shoulder if you see anything.
Right?
Yeah. And I ran that way, and it got me to where I needed to go. I ended up flying through a marina one time. I was almost halfway through on plane. I was like, oh shit, I missed. He didn't tell me. My partner should have.
Oh yeah.
I'm watching the levee. I'm watching in front, and motherfucker didn't even tell me about the buoy, the 5 mile an hour buoy.
Hey, but when you talk about the levee, I always Caesar, and I'm like, we're going, and I always talk. This is my fucking experience. I know I talk about the same shit all the time, but see, when I went in the Delta, there's these random spots where it's 5 miles an hour.
Yeah,
it's next to the marinas to the left, or I'm like, oh shit, I have no clue where we're at, but it's crazy. It's like the ocean.
Exactly.
It's like you don't know where you're going.
There's I can't think of the name of it right now, but there's some marinas and places there that are 7 to 10 minute freaking.
Oh my god, dude!
7 to 10 minutes to get through.
It's a lot. That's like Huntington Harbor,
if you went through
that's like miles.
If you went through 2 or 3 of those a day, just think of how much time back and forth. You're looking at I have 20. You lost me.
Did I?
Yep. Would you push something?
Check. You're right. It did something.
Refer to the manual.
No, we're still fucking recording.
What'd you step on?
I don't know. Is that better?
Testing. Dude.
Is it better now? You hear it?
Is there a ghost?
Yeah, there's a ghost.
The ghost of...
Fucking, what is this drink? You got Crown? Apple Crown. The ghost of Apple Crown.
You notice there's a handle there for a reason, just to keep a grip on it.
Hey, I'm going to congratulate you. I think you are the longest of the last 2 years of podcast so far.
You mean mine?
This podcast is probably the longest one I've done in 2 years.
Oh, for you.
I did one with the Lloyd Gomez.
I warned you.
No, it's great. It's interesting to me.
I warned you.
I love it.
I warned you that you bit off more than you can chew.
No, this is great. I think we're gonna almost hit like
this is
3.
just the tip of the iceberg, but this is basically a 5-year run where I was really.
And I don't want to stop because I want to get to the 93.
Okay, this is like a 5.
But I gotta piss, so hold on 1 second.
Well, who's gonna go first?
You gotta go first. You can go. Because the dinner's ready too. But I want to finish this before we get to dinner. All we got is a couple tournaments left to talk about.
See what's left? I know.
To get to 93, and then we'll stop at 93.
And we still got the 93 class.
That's what I want to look at.
Oh, dude. And then what about the television coverage and the media and all that?
Do you want to pause right here at the beginning of 93, and then we could start? No, what I'm saying is we'll do the next
take a break?
podcast.
Take a break. Oh.
I mean, it's 2 fucking hours. I mean,
we're at 2 hours?
We're 2 something.
Oh. Wow.
Because I was thinking we get to the end of 93 and then we can keep going after that.
Dude, we got to go all the way to 94, and we're in 93 right now. So we got a whole nother year.
And then we can go look at the.
No, we got another year plus 90. We got 2 years. We got 2 years. We basically got 2 years.
Let's pause.
2 years here.
Let's end it right here.
Regroup.
Let's end it here, and then we'll start the next podcast, which will be soon. This is some cool backstory on Kelly. I know a lot of people know Kelly from doing a lot of cool stuff with big guys like Oliver and stuff, and I knew who he was from Oliver. But Mark Higashi kind of introduced me to him and said, "Hey, dude, this guy'd be awesome to come on." He's been a huge supporter, and I want to tell you, thank you, Kelly, for all the support you've given the podcast.
Does that mean that you're kicking me out of the house?
We're gonna eat dinner, and
I'm just playing.
How many times have we hung out here, watched fucking American Me, all these good movies?
Oh, hey, be careful! I'll put you on a piece of paper. You don't. You don't laugh about that shit.
I know.
I don't want to see a smirk on your face.
You don't fuck around. I'll tell you that.
I'm telling you, man.
But I want to tell you, thank you. Like you're Kelly's buddies with a lot of these dudes you talk to. You know, like I'm still gonna do that podcast when I lock down fucking Jeremy. From Black Dog. We do something like this. It'll be live. We could watch a TV. You guys will be able to see it.
Q&A.
Yeah, Q&A, something cool. I think I'm going to do 2 next month.
Any TNA involved?
You ask Jeremy. He's into that. He's into the DNA too.
Wow. Sounds like you get... I mean, I spent some time up there, but I had no idea.
Oh,
I had no idea you were under the sheets.
But
on top of the sheets or underneath the sheets?
I don't know. Underneath. But this is another guy that's a big supporter of the podcast. Thank you, Kelly. This month is the Patreon videos are with Kelly. We did it all today. We spent pretty much the whole fucking day filming, doing a podcast, uploading videos. We got all kinds of cool shit coming out. So this was a different one, and I'm stoked on it because it worked correctly. Everything worked right.
Except your equipment.
Yeah, I'm doing this, but it's...
Refer to the manual.
It's like... I could just do this. It's like, whatever, fuck it. But the thing that I like is that we got to put the video in and do the whole deal with the
I think we're going places and doing things outside the box.
Trying.
And trust me, this is just a little piece of the pie. There's plenty of other stories out there. I'm just a little squirrel out here, just foraging. But to be honest with you, this is just, this brought back memories to me and history, and just like, gosh, you have no idea. This is just, I wish I could still do it.
It's cool to see you so happy, dude. Like excited to see some shit you haven't seen for fucking 18 years, and now you get to save it on a hard drive, bro.
With all the blood they've taken out of me the last year, this is like a freaking dude. Like you just mainline.
That was super fucking cool,
man. This is like really, really good. I'm
glad I was able to get this for you. It's just super cool.
This is, like I say, all this I haven't seen in probably 18 plus years. It's a lot of history, and there's still more. And I'm having fun, and I'm sharing it to people, and hopefully some of the older people will enjoy it as well as hopefully the young ones too, and at least acknowledge and know that there is history here, West Coast, all levels.
And that's the big thing is I feel like there's some good shit in the West Coast, and I know Bassmaster, it's all big, and you got to go back east or wherever the big lakes are, but I'm like, man, there's got to be some kind of like cool shit for the West Coast that people can talk about.
Exactly. But you know what? In every sport and every thing that you do, you just do it and enjoy it for what you get out of it. And you have to have balance in everything in life. Balance. Remember that. You can't expect miracles or expect the best rewards if you don't put in 100%. And that's what I'm going to leave everybody with. You got to put in 100%. And again, it goes back to family. Making your decisions, what you decide on a daily basis, is reflects on the people around you. And think about what your decisions and how they reflect and what that does to the people surrounding you. Because it shouldn't be all about you. Okay? When you make the decision and you commit and be a man, and you follow through. You know, I had a period of time where I was able to do some things, enjoy it, and I have no regrets. And, you know, the whole time my mom and dad, well, wait till you get older. Wait till you retire. I could, if I waited to retire, I wouldn't be able to do it. I've already, I've been retired now. I'm 8-9 years now. I'm like, you know what? Hey, I lived it, did it, been there, done that. And I look now at Apex. I look at what's going on. Like, you know how much I wish I could be there, and wish I could do it. And there's a handful of guys that are, you know, 7 to 10 years younger than me that are doing it, if not younger. But I had no idea. A lot of these guys were 10, 15 years younger than me that back then when I was competing against them. I'm like, wow. You know, I had no idea, like, you know, I was second generation on a pro end here, thinking, gosh, you know what? I had no idea that I was in the middle of all that. And, it, you know, we're all on a clock. We're all on a clock. Utilize the clock. Utilize your time. And remember, tomorrow's not guaranteed.
That's a great thing to end on.
Tomorrow's not guaranteed, so enjoy what you got right now, you know, and I'll leave you with that.
Thank you, Kelly.
And also too, say a prayer for Ukrainian people right now and all the craziness that's going on. And just it's a sad situation we got going on right now.
Let's end on a higher note and tell the story about when I caught a fish and you told me shut the fuck up. Because hey, I was stoked as shit. I caught a 5-pounder, and I've told this story like probably 4 times. And Kelly told me, "Shut the fuck up!" and he yelled at me, and it was hilarious.
Well, I had a reason behind it. But number one, we're on Paris, and over there, the minute you got a bent rod over, or even think you got a fish on, there's 3 or 4 boats circling you. It's like the Alamo.
Time for us to take a break. Thank you again. Appreciate it, Kelly.
It's a good thing I'm working for food.
Thanks for listening, guys. I hope you like this one. It's going to be awesome. Take care.
Well, so they say.